The day I was born was my mom's worst day ever. According to her, when I popped out, she nearly fainted on the spot.
No! What is that? This is not what I signed up for!
The nurses rushed over thinking something was wrong with me. Nope, that's just how my mom reacts to, well, everything. Ugh, mom with extra drama.
She looks like a wrinkled potato! Someone take her back, please!
Yep, that was her first impression of me, a literal potato. Meanwhile, I was just lying there, fresh out of the womb, probably blinking up at her like, yeah, lady, I'm real. Deal with it. Mrs. Hart, your baby is perfectly healthy. She's
ugly! Where are the glossy cheeks, the perfect hair? She doesn't even have eyebrows! Please give me my beautiful baby and keep her in the nursery, please!
And guess what she did next? She tried to pretend that she only had one baby. I kid you not, she grabbed my twin sister Lexi, who of course was the perfect baby straight out of a diaper commercial, and made a run for it. She was halfway to the parking lot when a nurse caught up to her. Excuse me, ma'am! Ma'am! You forgot your baby! Talk about feeling like lost luggage from baggage claim. Now here's where my dad came in, just in time to save the day.
Hand her to me. How could you leave our baby behind? And she is perfect.
And Mom really lost it.
You think she's perfect? Have you gone blind, Jonathan? My Lexi is the perfect one.
Dad just ignored her meltdown. And from that moment on, Dad and I became inseparable. He took me home while Mom stayed, obsessed with Lexi, the beautiful twin. I didn't mind though. Dad was all I needed. He was my superhero, and he wasn't just any superhero. He was the coolest one ever. You see, my dad was not only a top engineer who built robots for a tech company, at home he could fix anything, from a broken toaster to my broken heart. In fact, I thought he had superpowers, like X-ray vision or the ability to talk to machines. I used to imagine him saving the world from aliens with his high-tech gadgets. And I believe that if there ever was a time when the world needed saving, Dad would swoop in and save the day. Clearly, I was his biggest fan, but all that changed when I was 7. Dad had just finished building his masterpiece, a super intelligent AI robot. It was supposed to be the most amazing thing ever, a robot that could do anything from solving complex math problems to playing my favorite games and even home chores. How cool! The big event was being held at the auditorium of Dad's company, and everyone was there, including Mom and Lexi. But they were more interested in taking selfies than watching the presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Nova, my proudest invention and the future of robotics.
Smiling, he hit the power button and Nova's eyes flickered to life. It was supposed to wave, maybe even say hello. Instead, its head spun around like it was possessed, sparks flying from its neck. The next thing I knew, it exploded. Just boom! Right in front of everyone, and chaos erupted. Dad! Are you okay? I rushed to the stage as the crowd gasped. It was a complete disaster. The smoke alarm started blaring, and Mom and Lexi, they were still trying to get the best angle for their selfie. Ugh, I can't believe it. Hello, I'm Zoe. You just witnessed the day our lives went up in smoke. And you know my confession will literally blow your mind, so stay tuned. Also, like and subscribe to your favorite channel, Confession Diary. After the robot disaster, Dad lost his job and his reputation in a matter of a day. And Mom couldn't have cared less. She was more concerned with staying young and popular on social media. And Lexi literally followed in her footsteps. I mean, that girl could contour before she could even spell contour. While me? Well, I spent all my time in Dad's garage trying to help him fix Nova the robot. Daddy, what if we attach these wheels to the robot?
Circuits, motherboards. It used to be music. Now it's just noise.
Oh yeah, did I forget to mention? After Dad lost everything, he lost his mind too. Nothing he said made sense anymore. Don't worry, Dad. I'll make you proud one day. I promise. Just forget about the stupid robot already. Did you see the new TikTok trend? It's very cutesy. Ugh, will you shut up about that already? I'm trying to study something here.
Studying gives you wrinkles, Zoe, and you'll become a little more ugly. Ew.
Yeah, it also makes you go crazy. Just like Dad. Don't call him that. He's only sad. When I'll fix Nova, Dad will be fine again. You need to fix yourself first. You look like a walking dumpster. My sister was mean as a witch, but she was kind of right. Between school and exploring in Dad's garage, I kind of let myself go. I was the girl who showed up to class with mismatched socks, sweater on backward, and probably a smudge of engine grease somewhere on my face. But with so much research to do, my looks were not a priority. And of course, Lexi never let me forget it. I'm I'm too busy for fashion. Dad needs me. Whatever. Just stay away from me at school. I have a reputation to maintain. With that, she rolled her eyes and flipped her hair in my face. Story of my life. At school, I felt like a ghost. No one noticed me, as I was always buried in some book. But that changed at the beginning of junior year when a new boy joined our school. Lucas was the king of cool. He had the looks, the charm, and athletic skills that made everyone swoon. But the strangest thing, he actually noticed me.
Hey, nice socks. Are they a new trend?
What can I say? I'm a trendsetter. Just wait, next week everyone will be copying me. How delusional. That will only happen if you're setting trends in the world of circus clowns. Hello, I'm Lexi. You must be new.
Hello, Lexi. Bye, Lexi.
You're so funny. Anyway, you have to come to my TikTok party this weekend. It's gonna be epic.
Sorry, but I already have plans.
Oh, come on. You can't be serious. What could be more interesting than my party?
Actually, I'm hoping
Zoe.
Zoe will show me around. I'm dying to know where she got those socks.
Whatever, suit yourself. Good luck hanging out in the loser corner. As Lexi walked away embarrassed, I smiled at my new friend. Looking back, I should have suspected something was off. I mean, since when did anyone pick me over Lexi? I'm sorry, my sister is…
The witchiest witch who ever witched? Yeah, I can see that. So how about you show me around? I'm Lucas, by the way.
In the weeks that followed, Lucas and I spent tons of time together. At school, I'd watch him play basketball while I studied my dad's research notes. He'd even try to get my attention, but I was so distracted by my research.
What's with all the scribbles?
Oh, it's just my dad's old research. I'm trying to find out what went wrong with Nova.
Nova?
Lucas looked fascinated, so I ended up spilling everything to him and also about my project, and much to my surprise, he was impressed.
This is amazing, Zoe. You've got to keep working on it.
Thanks. I've been planning on gathering parts from scrapyards, but I'm afraid to go alone.
I'll go with you.
And so we spent weekends scavenging scrapyards, hunting for parts, and developing a bond that made me enjoy working on Nova even more. Like this one time we were digging around when I found an old engine perfect for my project, but just as I was about to celebrate, I heard a low growl behind me. Lucas? Please tell me that's your stomach.
Zoe, whatever you do, don't move.
Just then, the largest dog I'd ever seen emerged. And by large, I mean this thing could have doubled as a small bear. Okay, cool. No big deal. We can just, walk away slowly and hope we don't become its next snack. But before I could start my escape, another one appeared, and another one. Soon we were surrounded by a trio of dogs that looked like they'd been lifting weights. Lucas glanced at me, his expression calm, which was weird because I was already drafting my farewell speech in my head.
Zoe, stop talking, now.
And then, get this, Lucas crouched down and held out his hand like some sort of dog whisperer. The biggest one sniffed him, and I swear I saw the beast smile as it wagged its tail. Meanwhile, I was frozen in place trying my best not to pee my pants. Lucas? Are they wagging their tails because they like us or because they think we're gonna taste like bacon?
Just stay calm and take my hand. They won't hurt you.
The moment stretched out a little longer than I expected. Lucas still holding onto my hand, our faces inches apart. The dogs now happily wagging around us, and for a second, I forgot about the dogs entirely. Thanks, for saving me.
Anytime.
After that intense afternoon, I rushed home buzzing with excitement to finally test the engine I discovered. But the second I reached for my notebook, my stomach dropped. It was nowhere to be seen. No, this can't be happening. Frantic, I tossed everything in a mad scramble.
Zoe, please stop. What's happening?
Someone was in here. As I kept searching, Lucas tried to help, but I already knew the truth. My blueprints, my research, everything was gone. And I knew exactly who stole them. Oh, that perfect glitter-covered, selfie-obsessed brat of a sister! I know she has something to do with this, I just know it! I was furious. Not just regular furious. I mean volcano erupting, hurricane tearing through a town furious. Without even thinking, I bolted out of the garage and headed straight for Lexi's room. Lucas was right behind me, calling me, but all I saw was red. Lexi! What do you want, potato? You stole my notes! Where are they? What are you talking about? Why would I want your boring nerd notes? I wouldn't be caught dead with that mess.
Zoe, calm down. Let's just…
But I wasn't calm. Oh no! Calm was not in the room with us. Don't play dumb, Lexi. Just because you're mom's favorite doesn't mean you get to sabotage everything I've worked for. Oh, please. No one cares about your stupid project. Now move. I have to go live. My fans are waiting for me. Ugh! I was boiling inside, so I snapped and lunged at her, grabbing for her precious phone like a total maniac. Hey! What the… Lexi shrieked, but my hand had already connected with the phone, sending it flying out of her grip. I heard the crack before I even saw it. Her phone hit the ground, screen first, and shattered. My phone! You're insane, Zoe! Do you know how many selfies you just destroyed? I don't care about your stupid phone. Admit it, you've hated me from the start because you're jealous that I'm smarter than you. She stared at me for a moment, her face shifting. Then she smirked like she knew something I didn't. Jealous of you? Oh, Zoe, honey, you really don't get it, do you?
What are you talking about?
You want to know why Lucas even bothered talking to you? Why he suddenly started paying attention to the weird sister?
My heart stopped. What do you mean?
Lucas and I had a little bet. Lexi flipped her hair like she hadn't just dropped a bombshell the size of a nuke.
A bet?
My voice cracked and I felt my stomach sink into my shoes. Lucas, who had been standing back like a deer caught in headlights, finally stepped forward.
Lexi, that's enough.
But Lexi wasn't done. Not by a long shot. Yeah, a bet. Lucas and I met right before school started, and when I told him about you, he thought it would be hilarious to see how long he could stand hanging out with, well, you.
I felt like I'd been slapped. I turned to Lucas, my mind spinning. Is this true?
Zoe, I can explain.
I can't believe this! How could you?
Oh, poor Zoe. Always thinking she's a genius. Newsflash, you're the loser, twin.
My heart shattered into a million pieces.
Lexi, that's enough!
Lucas, please tell me she's lying.
Lucas looked down at the ground, unable to meet my eyes. His silence was all the answer I needed. I staggered back, the weight of everything crashing down on me.
I didn't know what to do. I wanted to scream, to cry, to punch something, or maybe all three at once.
Before Lexi could say anything else, I turned and bolted out of her room, angry tears streaming down my face. I ran down the street without even looking where I was going, my mind racing with a million different thoughts. A bet? Really? The humiliation was unbearable. But just as I was about to cross the street, tires screeched on the pavement. My heart jumped into my throat as a black SUV came out of nowhere, speeding toward me like something out of a nightmare.
Zoe, watch out!
The next thing I knew, Lucas was shoving me out of the way. I stumbled, landing hard on the grass, the SUV screeching to a stop inches from where I'd been standing. I was too stunned to move. My pulse pounded in my ears as Lucas helped me up.
Zoe, are you okay? I'm sorry. About the bet. About everything. I was stupid and
Lucas, I appreciate you saving my life and all, but I am still mad at you.
I didn't mean for it to go that far. I thought—
No! You don't get to talk your way out of this. You and Lexi played me, made me feel like I was— nothing.
I never thought you were nothing.
Just leave, Lucas.
He opened his mouth to say something, but I walked away, my head full with questions. Who was driving that SUV? Was it just an accident, or was there something more to it? And Lucas, was he involved in all this? Clearly he and Lexi had been working together all along, right? I took a deep breath, blinking back tears as I reached the garage. Maybe I wasn't ready to forgive Lucas, but right now, I needed someone I could trust. Someone who wouldn't play games with my heart. I needed my dad. I burst through the garage door, barely able to see through my tears, but the moment I saw my dad, it all came crashing down.
Dad, everything's falling apart. I need you.
Oh, there she is, my little Einstein, back from the galaxy of teenage turmoil.
Dad, I don't know what to do. Lexi, Lucas, Nova, everything's a mess.
You know, this reminds me of the time I tried to reverse engineer a toaster and it tried to electrocute me. Sometimes things just zap you, sweetheart.
I couldn't help it. Through my tears, a laugh escaped. Of course, that's the kind of advice I'd get from Dad, a toaster story. Dad, why are you like this? I miss you so much. I wish you could talk to me like a normal dad. As soon as I said that, Dad's usual blank expression was replaced by something almost serious.
I'll always keep you safe, Zoe, even from the men in suits.
Wait, who now?
Men in suits. You know, the ones sneaking around in that big black SUV outside.
How do you know about the SUV? But he didn't answer me. He just went back to staring at the wall. Later that night, after Dad's cryptic SUV comment, I tried to brush it off. Maybe he was just being, well, Dad. But something just felt off. At school, Lucas tried to talk to me again, but I brushed him off again. Meanwhile, I couldn't get that scary SUV out of my head. A weird, uneasy feeling churned in my stomach. Fast forward a few days later, and bam! I walked into the garage to find men in suits. And their faces, absolutely terrifying, like they just walked into a crime scene. I barely had time to react before they grabbed me, and yeah, Nova too. I fought back like a mad woman, but these dudes were professionals, and let's face it, I'm not exactly Bruce Lee. They tossed me into the back of an SUV and sped off to some abandoned warehouse. Of course, it was a warehouse. Villains are nothing if not predictable. Inside, they practically shoved me into a chair and loomed over me like cartoon supervillains.
You're going to finish Nova for us, or you'll never see your family again.
You guys really need to work on your threats. It's so cliche. And that's when one of them waved a wrench in my face.
Fix the robot, now!
Okay, fine. Jeez. I sighed and got to work with the shiny new parts they gave me, but about an hour later, I heard some noise. At first, I thought it was just my imagination until the door flew open and in walked Dad and Lucas.
Zoe, you're okay?
Dad, how did you find me?
Zoe, I need to tell you something.
Cue dramatic pause, and then the suited guys sprung into action, and before I knew it, we were in the middle of a full-blown brawl. Lucas, Dad, and me against these wannabe secret agents.
Stop attacking us! I already called the police and they'll be here any second.
At the mention of police, the bad guys took off just as Dad hugged me. Dad, who were those people? What's going on?
Listen, Zoe, there's something I never told you about Nova and why it really failed.
Oh, this better be good.
Nova wasn't just a robot. It was a very advanced robot. It was designed to gather data on people, and the company I worked for wanted to use it for surveillance, and then sell that data to the highest bidder, governments, corporations, anyone.
Wait, so you're telling me the company wanted to turn Nova into some sort of spy robot? Like, for evil schemes?
Exactly. When I realized what they were planning, I tried to stop them, but they forced me to keep working on Nova. When it malfunctioned during the unveiling, I was so relieved.
My stomach dropped. What? All these years? Why didn't you tell me the truth? I've been trying to fix it for you, Dad.
I had to keep you safe, Zoe. I've been so afraid that they'd find out you were working on Nova. That's why I stole the research notes.
Wait, what? That was you? But I accused Lexi and... Wait a minute, Dad, you don't sound crazy anymore.
Well, that's because I'm not crazy. I've never been crazy. I've been faking it because I needed the company to think I was no longer of use to them.
Holy shit, Vers. Can somebody say bombshell? I didn't know what to say. My brain, total mush. Before I could even process the news, Lucas stepped forward.
We should probably get out of here before they come back.
Right, evil henchman, warehouse. Yeah, this wasn't exactly story time, so we hightailed it out of there. We pulled up to the house just as Mom and Lexi were arriving home from a party.
Do you even know how humiliating it was to leave the party? I was this close to a selfie with the mayor.
I was kidnapped. Sorry it ruined your night. Anyway, Dad needs to tell you guys something. And so Dad told them exactly what he told me, and they looked shocked for 5 seconds.
Anyway, next time you get abducted, just text us. Save us the drama.
Mom, this was more than dramatic. We almost died tonight.
Exactly. So selfish. You know, I absolutely hate funerals. Also, I don't look good in black.
I threw my hands up in defeat. Unbelievable. Oh, and I'll accept your apology any minute now. Apology? Oh, yes. Lexi, I'm sorry I accused you of stealing my notes when it was Dad who took them. Oh, wow. You actually apologized. This is definitely going on Instagram. Lexi! Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, too. For everything I said. That bet was really stupid. Lucas likes you, by the way.
For a second, it almost felt like we were having a moment, but then she went back to scrolling her phone.
Some things would never change. A few weeks later, things had settled down, but then Dad blew the whistle on the evil tech company. He went public with the whole Nova conspiracy, and it turned into a major scandal. Now he's doing TV interviews left and right, becoming a bit of a celebrity. Of course, Mom tags along just in case she gets her own 15 minutes of fame. So far, nada, but she's working on it. As for Nova, Dad and I are rebuilding it together. Minus the creepy surveillance features, obviously. Nova 2.0 is going to be better, smarter, and 100% less evil. It's kind of our new thing. Father-daughter bonding through tech. Normal families go on hikes, we build robots. And Lucas? Well, let's just say I'm not 100% sure I trust him after everything, but he's been trying to prove himself. He's definitely got a long way to go, but hey, at least he's trying. And just like that, things have started feeling normal. Well, as normal as life can get when your dad's a famous ex-mad scientist, your sister is a TikTok queen, and you're rebuilding a robot that almost ruined everything. But if there's one thing I learned, it's that normal is overrated. I can't believe I let you guys talk me into this.
Oh, come on, Anne, stop being such a baby.
Just then, a rustling noise sent us all into a panic, freezing us in pure terror. We all turned our flashlights towards the sound. It was just a harmless iguana. Oh, great. Now I'm even more freaked out. Why did I agree to do this again? Because it's Halloween and it'll be fun. Let's enjoy. Exams were finally over and we had just stepped into the freedom of university life. No more curfews. What better way to celebrate than with my friends on this eerie night? For 5 long years, I had passed that old plantation house on Wendy Fitzwilliams Boulevard, always wondering what secrets lay behind its crumbling walls. While there were many different rumors about what happened in the plantation house, one thing was clear. Inside, there were jumbies. Hey there, I'm Mariah from the beautiful twin island of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, for those who don't know, a jumbie, it's an evil spirit from our folklore. But you didn't really come here for that, right? You came for my confession. So hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up because what I'm about to share is gonna be a doozy. Okay, so back to the story. We had to be careful. The police station was just across the street. The last thing we needed was to get caught sneaking around on a night like this. I glanced at my friends, excitement mingling with curiosity as Dwight and Jacob began taking the back door off its hinges. I knew kicking down the door would have been awesome, like in the movies, but we had to remember, getting caught was not an option. As soon as the door creaked open, the guys carefully pushed it aside and we stepped into the darkness of the house with our flashlights.
So, where did you hear about this creepy mirror game?
Good old Google. It's one thing to hear about jumbies. It's another to actually go looking for them. At least I came prepared.
What's that?
It's holy water. You guys didn't think I'd come here without any protection, do you? I'm not that crazy.
Okay, should we do this thing upstairs or downstairs?
Please, downstairs. I don't plan on getting any creepy crawlers in my hair. As we explored downstairs, I spotted something under a dusty sheet in the corner. Hey guys, come check this out. One by one, they gathered around as I pulled off the sheet. It was a large antique mirror. Wow, look, I found the perfect mirror for the game.
So we start at midnight?
Yes. So what do we do for the next few hours? Share spooky stories? We sat in a circle and lost ourselves in the stories until my alarm went off at 11:55. We all looked at each other. I swore everyone in the room could hear my heart beating. It seemed so loud in my ears. Nervously, I grabbed the pieces of paper I'd prepared and handed one to each person. At midnight, look into the mirror and say what's on the paper. Got it?
Are you guys sure you want to do this? Calling a jumbie could have serious consequences. Or are you chickening out? Don't worry, Anne has enough holy water for all of us.
1 minute to go. We stood up and gathered around the mirror, my heart beating loudly as the seconds ticked away. Suddenly, my alarm rang loudly, signaling it was time. We all looked into the mirror.
Jumbie of the night, I summon thee. Reveal your presence, let me see.
We waited for the next few minutes and it felt like hours, but nothing happened. Jacob broke the tension with a smirk.
I guess all the rumors we heard over the years were false.
What is that? The sound was faint, almost like a whisper. The air turned cold and shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls, flickering like they had a life of their own. Then a low, eerie voice echoed through the room, barely above a whisper but cold enough to freeze the blood in our veins. Did you hear that? My voice barely made it out. Suddenly, the room exploded into chaos. The chandelier above us swung wildly, its glass bulbs bursting one by one. The whispers that had been faint before now grew louder. The voices spoke in a language none of us knew. The floor beneath us groaned, then cracked open. Thick black sludge oozed up through the gaps in the wood, creeping across the floor like something alive. And its stench, like spoiled meat, hit us hard, making it hard to breathe. And then we saw them, dark handprints pushing out from the wallpapers. Fingers stretching and clawing as if they were trying to tear their way through. My heart raced as we huddled together, frozen in fear. It felt like the air around us had turned heavy, holding us in place. The air turned icy, then came the sound. Footsteps approaching, slow, deliberate.
We need to leave, now!
Jacob's voice snapped us back to reality and we all bolted for the door. But when we grabbed the handle, it wouldn't budge. The door was locked. No, more than locked. It felt like it was sealed. Help! Someone help us! I'm way too young to die! I'm too young to die! And then, the growl. Low, rumbling, and inhuman. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once.
You have called the jumbie, and it's hungry.
Oh my god! What have I done? What did I get us into?
Upstairs now!
We raced up the stairs behind Dwight, taking the steps 2 at a time. The wooden steps groaned like they were about to collapse under our weight. Once in the hallway, we threw ourselves at every door. Desperate, but each one refused to open. Locked, jammed, we were trapped.
Come on, open, you stupid thing!
We finally reached the last door. Jacob and Dwight kicked it with all their might, the lock snapping. We stumbled into the room, slamming the door behind us.
Quick, block the door! But if it's a ghost, how is blocking the door supposed to help?
Do you have a better idea? Anne was already shoving a broken bookshelf against the door.
No, then move it!
At that moment, our survival mode kicked in. We shoved everything we could find. Old, decaying furniture, dusty shelves, even a tattered armchair against the door. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely lift anything, but I wasn't about to stop. Not now. Not with that thing out there. Once the door was blocked, I looked at my friends, who seemed as terrified as me. What now? I felt like a mouse in a trap. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. But apparently there was one more option. Hide! Quick! Under the bed! I know what you're thinking, and yeah, you're probably right, but honestly, we weren't thinking straight at the time, so don't judge us. We crawled under the ancient, splintered bed, the moth-eaten sheets brushing our faces. Our bodies pressed together, hearts pounding in unison. The room was deathly silent, except for our ragged breathing. And then, scratching. Sharp, deliberate scratches against the door like nails dragging slowly across the wood. The sound sent chills racing down my spine. We didn't dare breathe, didn't dare move. Just as suddenly as it started, the scratching stopped. Guys, we can't stay here. We have to get out.
So you rather us face the jumbie? Why did I come to this house? I should have just stuck to my carnival, not this Halloween bull.
I blame you, Mariah. Really? Do you think now is the best time for this conversation? Was Anne for real?
Guys, look, there's a window. Looks big enough for us to get through.
We all looked in the direction Dwight was pointing, and he was right. Yes, freedom! We scrambled out from under the bed, adrenaline driving us forward. Jacob reached the window first, trying to push it open, but it wouldn't budge. It was stuck, just like the doors. He looked around the room frantically and grabbed a piece of rusted steel from the corner.
Move!
We stepped back as he swung at the window with a loud clang. Then, bang! Something slammed into the door from the other side. Our makeshift barricade rattled violently as the banging grew louder and more frantic. The door shaking under the force of whatever was out there. We were too close to get caught. Jacob, hurry! Jacob finally smashed the glass window.
Go, go, go!
Just as we were about to climb through, the temperature in the room went down. My breath turned to mist, freezing in midair. And then I saw it, a shadow. It slid through the cracks in the door like smoke until it blocked our path. Now we were trapped. It twisted and began forming, its eyes glowing with a red, ghostly light. My legs felt like lead. I couldn't breathe. None of us could. The jumbie appeared as a tall, shadowy figure, draped in tattered, dark clothing. His worn boots barely made a sound as he moved. A weathered hat sat low on his brow, casting an evil shadow across his face, while a long, tattered cloak hung from his shoulders. With a swift motion, Anne raised the holy water. Be gone, foul spirit! We watched as she sprayed the jumbie with the sacred liquid. Then the jumbie erupted into laughter, a sound that echoed like a chilling wind through the trees.
Your faith is amusing, child, but holy water won't save you.
Before Anne could react, the jumbie lunged forward, a blur of shadow, and shoved her to the ground. She landed hard on the wooden floor.
Anne!
Dwight ran to help her to her feet. The jumbie's eyes met mine, and its twisted mouth stretched into a sick grin. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst. Then a voice that was both a whisper and a growl. It spoke.
Mariah, I see you brought your friends as promised.
Everything froze. My friends turned to me. Shock and confusion plastered across their faces. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat louder than the last. I could feel their eyes on me, their silent questions louder than the jumbie's voice.
Mariah, what is he talking about?
They don't understand, I thought, swallowing hard. They don't know what it's like to see your family struggling, to watch your parents work themselves into the ground just to barely scrape by. So you've been here before? I forced myself to look at them, guilt twisting in my gut. As I opened my mouth, the words felt hollow. Yes, I was here about 2 weeks ago and recited the ritual, and he appeared.
Ho ho ho. Mariah here promised me your souls in exchange for wealth.
So all of this, that stupid game, was just to lure us here for your own selfish needs?
The accusation hit me hard. I blinked back, the tears threatening to spill. I couldn't break down now, not in front of them. I had to be strong. Selfish? My voice cracked, but the anger took over, fueled by years of desperation. My parents are working 2 and 3 jobs, and we're still living paycheck to paycheck. I'm tired. I can't stay in the ghetto. Can't live like that anymore. I did what I had to.
But why us?
I turned to Jacob, my eyes burning with anger. The words flew out of my mouth before I could stop them, filled with both anger and pain. Why not you? Don't your parents have a buck? That evil spirit that harms others to bring wealth to its master? You're no different than I am. Jacob's face paled then, but I didn't care. And he really wasn't sure, because a buck is an evil spirit bound to its master through dark rituals. It does whatever its master wants, bringing them wealth by hurting others. The buck is trapped and can't refuse to whoever controls it. While a jumbie is wild and unpredictable, but the buck is completely tied to its master's will. I got bullied for being poor all my life, and then here I decide to pretend to be rich and be in your group. I was tired of pretending, so I thought I had a right to live a rich life like you guys do. For months, I searched and found ways to get rich quick. My granny always talked about the spirits and how you could control them to use them, but there was always a price. So I did my homework, learned the ways of the spirits and how to summon them. How dare they judge me? They had no idea what I'd been through. But even as I lashed out, a part of me hated myself. Anne grabbed my arm, yanking me toward her. Her eyes blazed with fury. Doesn't our friendship mean anything to you? Even though I heard the hurt in Anne's voice, I doubled over with wild and uncontrollable laughter. Our friendship? Your friendship always came with strings attached, like doing your homework or carrying your books. You never cared how you made me feel, so why should I care about you now?
You betrayed your friends for a promise of wealth. Well, why would you think I wouldn't betray you in return? None of you are leaving this house tonight.
A loud rumbling echoed through the room as the shadows moved. Dark figures, more jumbies began to materialize from the corners. Their twisted faces watching us, waiting. Fear clawed at my throat. Everyone was screaming now, panicking, pushing at each other. I barely had time to think before Dwight ripped the block away from the door and it swung open. We bolted for the door, stumbling over each other, the floorboards creaking and groaning under our feet. As we ran through the hallway and down the steps, the jumbies were behind us, moving faster than I thought possible. Their twisted hands reached out, brushing against our backs, sending shivers down my spine. The door flung open and we spilled into the night air, but the darkness wasn't our salvation. It was a trap. One by one, the screams started. First, it was Anne. Her scream pierced the night air like a knife. Then it was Dwight. I turned just in time to see him fall, dragged into the shadows by hands that weren't human. Then Jacob. Black hands covered his mouth and dragged him away. The last thing I saw was his eyes wild with terror. They left silence, cold, empty silence. And then it was just me. The jumbie appeared again, its eyes gleaming with delight.
I always get what I want.
Tears stung my eyes. I was supposed to be free. Me and my family enjoying the wealth. Not here. Not with him. Please don't. I did what you asked.
Yes, but you forget. A deal with me always comes at a price. And your price was higher than you thought. Your family will receive the wealth you longed for. You just won't be there to enjoy it.
There has to be a way out of this, please. I beg you. I stepped closer, its foul breath brushing my face, sending waves of nausea through me.
Let's make a deal. I won't kill you. Not yet. You're free to live.
I swallowed, my entire body shaking. What's the deal?
You will tell your story to everyone, and every person who hears it will be marked and visited.
No, I can't do that, please. Don't make me.
You have no choice, Chile.
It reached out, brushing its cold, clawed hand against my cheek. I flinched, but didn't pull away.
If you don't, I will come for you, and I will take everything. Your soul, your family, your future. You will have nothing left.
My heart raced, pounding against my ribcage like a trapped bird. Slowly, I pushed myself to my feet. The guilt I felt for what I did was overwhelming. I had to fix it. I just had to. This wasn't who I was, and I didn't want greed to turn me into the monster I felt like. I had to fix it. I had to. I'd like to see my friends one more time. The jumbie's eyes gleamed with dark amusement as it nodded. Suddenly, my friends stepped out from the shadows. Their faces were pale, but relief washed over them as they rushed toward me. I wrapped my arms around them tightly. I'm sorry for what I did, guys. Please forgive me. Then, with a surge of adrenaline, I grabbed a bag of rice from my backpack and tossed it into the air. Guys, run! We bolted for the door, our hearts pounding like thunder. You see, I knew jumbies were tricksters, so I had to be ready for the worst. Jumbies might be terrifying, but they were easily distracted. I read that rice could buy us precious seconds. They had to count every grain before they could follow. My friends and I escaped that day, but they never spoke to me again. I can't blame them. My greed cost me more than I realized. They weren't perfect, and I had bad-mouthed them, but when it mattered, they were always there. Now the memory of their hurt faces haunts me. I traded their trust for a taste of wealth. only to end up with loneliness. I learned the hard way that betrayal is paid in love. I wish I could take back those words and the deal that led me here, but the shadows remain a constant reminder of what I lost. And now I sit here with my camera, pouring my heart out, but this creepy feeling lingers like a shadow. I can't shake the sense that something is watching me. I haven't dared to go out at night, and I can't sleep with the lights off anymore. I did survive the jumbie, for now. But as Granny used to say, betray a jumbie, and it will haunt you till your last breath. The crowd erupted as we finished the song, and I could feel the adrenaline pumping through my veins. And the noise, nothing like I'd ever experienced before. Oh my gosh, this is it! This is the moment! My heart might actually explode! I'm in a girl band! I made it, Mom! But just as I was experiencing really getting in the groove, a guy suddenly jumped on the stage and stormed toward us, eyes wide and frantic.
I love you, Gia. Sign up with me. I promise I'll make you happier, Queen.
And just like that, chaos erupted all around me. Our bodyguards sprinted to the stage trying to catch the guy who was beelining toward me. The crowd was booing and phones flashed everywhere as I stood frozen. Finally, my guard caught the moron, but as I watched the bodyguards haul away the crazy guy, all I could think was, is this really my life now? Hi besties, I'm Gia, a member of the K-pop girl band Black Pearl. And this is a confession about my life as a part of a popular K-pop girl band. But before I continue, please like and subscribe to Confession Diary. My childhood was interesting. You know those celebrities who were practically born with a silver spoon? The ones whose dads run billion-dollar companies and whose moms spend their days sipping on iced lattes in luxury cafes with their fancy friends? Yeah, we were definitely not that family. Nope. Ever since I could walk, my parents owned the busiest, most chaotic tteokbokki restaurant in town. Imagine steamy windows, sauce splatters, and the non-stop clang of pans. Of course, that meant that from a very young age, I was helping out.
As you see, here are your 2 plates here, and an extra spicy one for you, miss.
But serving tteokbokki was hardly my biggest problem. That would be my parents, who were determined that I escape the restaurant life. Which was good, right? Wrong, because in their eyes, the only way out for me was by becoming either a doctor or a lawyer. No exceptions.
One day you'll be a great doctor or lawyer, and the whole nation will know your name. Imagine me telling everyone at the market, hey, that's my daughter.
Yeah, Mom, I'll totally try.
Try? Do you see how hard Uma works here? Medical school or law school? In fact, here you go. I got this for you.
Yeah, you got that right. At 7, my parents wanted me to read law books. In English. Heck, they were so desperate that I become an all-rounder, they had me take swim classes at 6 a.m.
If we go before the pool opens, you can swim for free. Don't forget you're staying up late for math today, and science tomorrow, and English for 3 nights after that.
Long story short, it was insane. I mean, I was a straight-A student, but still. Luckily, I had my older brother Jin to keep me sane. Jin was 6 years older than me and basically the coolest human alive. He was in a band and could care less about what Mom and Dad thought. So he and the parents were constantly butting heads. If they had a medal for that, these guys would for sure win. Since I wasn't allowed to listen to anything other than classical music, I used to creep outside his room to listen to the fun stuff. It annoyed him, of course, but after I tried to climb into his room on the 2nd floor to steal one of his albums, he was horrified.
What are you doing?
If you don't let me have it, I'll tell Mom about this. We both knew that Mom and Dad would flip if they found out he was listening to rock music, so he gave in. After that, getting the good stuff was a piece of cake. So now every time Mom and Dad were away or asleep, he'd let me into his room and we'd listen to all his music albums together. But one day when I was 11, something terrible happened. Mom and Dad were out, so we decided to listen to the latest album by his favorite band on the loudest volume when suddenly, boom! Mom and Dad burst through his door.
What is going on here?
We're just listening to music. Stop overreacting.
That is no way to talk to your mother, Shin. And if I hear one more bang out of this room, you'll be banging on the street. Got it? And you, it's a school night and you're listening to music? This trashy music? Get to bed right now or you're grounded till you're 19.
I was mortified, but Jin, he was so cool. He just stared at them like, yeah, whatever. But to be honest, having a brother like Jin was the best. You see, he was the only person who knew and supported my secret dream. Can you guess what that was? To be a singer. The truth is that ever since I could remember, I wanted to be in Jin's band. But asking him was out of the question. For one, I knew my parents would ground me till I was 90 for even thinking that. And 2, Who would want their younger sister in their band anyway? Ugh. So instead, I did what I was best at. I sneaked around and followed him, especially when his band had their street performances. They were always packed. But one day, as his band was performing in the park and I was hiding, someone pushed me and I ended up smacking right into the drum set. People laughed and walked away, but I knew my life was so over. And Jin, he was beyond furious.
What the heck are you doing here? Do you know how much trouble you could get me into? Mom and Dad already think I'm a terrible influence on you.
I just want to listen. Please, I won't let them know. I swear on Seotaji I won't get caught. Please let me stay. Pretty please.
Fine. But you better not get me into trouble.
I was over the moon. And after that, there was no stopping me. I snuck away from my parents' watchful eye whenever I could and watched the rehearsals. Mom, I'll be studying with Haijin tonight. Mom, a girl in my class offered me her science notes if I tutored her in math. Appa, I forgot my math book at home. I'll go home early tonight. I thought life was perfect. And then one day, everything changed.
Hey, little Miss Fangirl. Want to do a backup to one of our songs?
I knew Jin was joking, but I jumped at the chance. When he tried to get me to sit back down, I refused. Just let me try once, please, Oppa! Since he knew I wanted to be a singer, he shrugged and let me have a try. But as soon as I started singing, everyone's jaws dropped to the floor.
Whoa, I didn't know you could sing this amazing.
For a second, everyone was stunned into silence. Even Jin was taken aback. Then slowly he said the words I never thought I'd ever hear from him, ever.
Gia, do you want to join our band?
What? You're not scared of Uma anymore?
With a voice like that, I'll gladly get banished for you to become famous. And then you can buy me a mansion and a sports car when you get rich.
After that, life was a bliss. For the next few months, I continued sneaking out. Only this time it was to participate in Jin's rehearsals. And Mom and Dad never knew about it since I never let my grades dip. Until they did, and everything went to hell. You see, one glorious Saturday after I'd finished my homework, did all the chores, finished my shift at the restaurant, I snuck out to the garage where the band was rehearsing for my first official gig. Yes, I was gonna get paid to sing for the first time ever. I was buzzing with excitement when suddenly someone yanked me by the back of my hoodie.
What do you think you're doing?
Mom, please stop!
Mom, chill, it's just music. Let her have some fun.
Don't talk back to me when you're nothing but a failure, Jin.
It's because of you that we now only have one child we can put all our hopes on. And now you want to corrupt her too?
And then Jin snapped. He threw down his drumsticks.
She is not a baby or a robot, Mom. Not everything's about grades and being perfect. She's got talent. And if you actually listened, you would hear it too.
I had never seen Jin mad like that. I stood frozen between them, my heart racing, not sure if I should run for cover or say something. The rest of the band was just kind of awkwardly staring at the floor, pretending this wasn't the worst family meltdown they'd ever seen. But watching Jin stand up for me gave me some sort of courage too. He's right, Mom. I really want to do this.
Are you rebelling too? Huh! Wait until your Appa hears about this.
With that, she dragged me away and locked me in my room after giving me a pile of study books taller than me. Typical Korean parents. Ugh! But did your girl study? Heck to the no! I sneaked out of the window, jumped into Jin's beat-up van, and went to the show anyway. And let me tell you, it was the best night ever! Until I walked home to my angry parents, and I spent the entire month peeling onions and garlic at the restaurant as punishment. After that, Mom watched me like a hawk. Dad even went as far as sealing my windows shut. I was under constant surveillance. School, restaurant, repeat. And of course, I was banned from going near Jin and his band. That was the worst time ever. I thought it was all over until one Sunday afternoon when everything changed. I was at the restaurant when I noticed this guy staring at me. At first, I ignored it, but his eyes followed me everywhere. Creepy, right? Hey, Ajushi, is there something wrong with your order, or are you just a creep?
Oh, sorry, I'm Dan from Sky Entertainment in Seoul. You're Gia, right?
What's this about?
Well,
Suddenly, I spotted Mom glaring at us from across the corner. In panic, I shoved the card into my apron. Meet me outside in 5 minutes. And try not to look so creepy. After some very creative excuses, I snuck out and met Mr. Kim at the coffee shop nearby. Turns out someone had sent him a video of me singing, and he thought I'd be a perfect fit for a girl band his agency was creating. This all sounded so exciting, but I knew my parents would never let me try it out, so I talked to Jin about it.
Hey, you've got a killer voice, Gia. You can totally be a star.
But Mom and Dad will never allow it. Should I just sneak out and let them know only if I get selected?
Our Gia's all grown up and brave now. I'll totally help you.
And that, kids, is how I ended up at Sky Entertainment, one of the biggest entertainment agencies in South Korea. Thousands of girls had shown up for auditions, and I could tell we were all nervous. I mean, one girl threw up right before it was her turn. Another one kept making frog noises, trying to prep her vocals or something. And another one was doing cartwheels. What was that about? And then there was me. When they called my name, I froze. My body refused to move. But right on cue, Jin called me, hyping me up. Before I knew it, I was up there singing my heart out in front of the scariest looking judges ever, and they didn't even smile. I went home that night, not only freaking out about not getting a call back, but also facing my super angry parents. Yup, despite my super careful plan, they had found out I had snuck away, and boy, were they mad.
Running away, Gia? Is this how you repay us for everything?
Mom, it was just a random audition, and I won't be selected anyway, so chill.
Gia!
She called after me, but nope, not tonight. I locked myself in and pretended none of this ever happened. For the next few days, I jumped every time my phone rang. And every time it wasn't the call, I got more and more hopeless. Then one day, my phone rang. Hello, Tteokbokki Snack Shop. How may I? Yes, this is Gia. Really? I got in! I hugged Mom, who looked like she'd seen a ghost, and forced a high five on Dad. Just then, Jin walked in and I tackled him to the floor. They called back! I'm gonna be a trainee!
Shut up, for real?
We were lost in our own little bubble of excitement when suddenly we heard a scream.
No! How can you be excited about this when you have exams coming up? I won't allow this. Never!
Mom, relax. I can take exams online and my school offers flexible schedules. Plus, the agency also has resources to help us manage and pay for our studies and still train. Oh, please, Mom, let me do this. How I managed to convince my parents to let me go is a whole different story. Hint, I begged, like a lot. Little did I know, that was just the beginning of the madness. The first time I walked into the dorms, it was like stepping into a whole different planet. Seriously, pretty girls everywhere, twirling around, singing like angels, and busting out dance moves that made me question all my life choices. But trust me, nothing prepared me for the crazy rules they had. I had to wake up at 4 a.m. every day. 4 in the morning, guys. And we weren't even allowed to leave the academy without permission. Then came the endless singing and dancing and, oh yeah, language classes. Because apparently being an idol means you need to speak like 5 languages fluently. Whose brilliant idea was that, huh? One day I was running down the hall half asleep trying not to be late for vocal training when I collided with this crazy tall girl. Watch where you're going, shorty. Yeah, should I also speak Thai? We can do this all day, shorty. Oh, I meant, sorry, I didn't know trees were part of the training program. She blinked at me for a second, then cracked up. This girl was Susie, a trainee from Thailand, and after that, we became best friends. By the end of my first year, I was so exhausted that I almost quit. But Mama didn't raise a quitter, so I stayed. In my 3rd year, I finally started getting a hand of things. But one day, I got a text from Jin.
I'm in Seoul for a few days. Let's hang out.
But I was on lockdown for weeks before my next day off, so I decided to sneak out. That night, while everyone showered and had their supper, I left the dorm. I'd be out and back before roll call, or so I thought. But boy, was I wrong. Once we started talking, time just flew by. Oh no, I'll be in so much trouble if I miss roll call. I have to go. Jin handed me some food Mom had packed for me, and I took off running back to the academy, only to see a bunch of girls behind me all trying to get back into the dorm unnoticed. Shoot, we were all gonna get caught at this rate. Hey, come on, take off your shoes. What? Take off your high heels. As I struggled to take off my shoes, I accidentally dropped my dish and I watched in horror as it rolled down the pavement. Leave it. We have 7 minutes to get to the dorm or we're dead. She was right, but I hadn't tasted Mom's meals for months. So I did the only sane thing and dove after the dish. But that was a real dumb decision. By the time I got to the main door, it was locked and the hall director was on the move. No, this can't be happening. I rushed around in panic and jumped into the first open window I saw just as the hall director arrived. Phew, it was Susie's room. That night we had a real blast. After that, the training camp got easier and we started sneaking out a bit more. 5 years later, I was finally chosen as a member of the newly formed girl group Black Pearl, along with Susie and 2 other girls, Aria and Emily.
OMG, I can't believe we ended up in a group together, Gia. This is fate.
I know, right? I can't wait for all of us to perform together and become famous. This is such a dream come true. Oh, you guys, you're like my sisters now. These girls were all amazing and super talented. And our debut, wah, epic. My first time on stage was literally a dream I never dared to imagine would one day come true. We'd finally been introduced to the world, and just like that, our K-pop fan base blew up. Most fans were total sweethearts, but some, brutal. But to be honest, being in the spotlight is tough. People made fun of how I spoke English, counted how many lines I got in every song, and even tracked my screen time. As the group's visual, I started feeling pretty lonely, especially after Susie had to take a break to work on her solo projects. Since Emily and Mariah had always been super tight, I felt left out a lot. But soon I realized they were really sweet. A few days after Susie left, we were at the airport. I was walking behind them all awkwardly, feeling super alone, when suddenly Emily grabbed my hand.
Come on, stop lagging behind, Gia. We can't let you steal the spotlight walking all dramatic behind us like that.
That's when I knew that no matter what the world thought, my sisters would always be there for me. Oh, and pretty sure someone made an edit of that airport moment. Whoever you are, I love you. Over the years, I got a few more deals and finally ended up snagging some movie roles. And better yet, I got a female lead role in a TV series acting next to the hottest man in Korea. But don't quote me on that. On top of all my busy schedules, tours, movie and TV roles, and modeling for luxury brands, I now have time to go back home. And my parents, you ask? Well, they don't stop bragging about their famous daughter, Gia.
Oh my god, did you see how she performed during their world tour? She absolutely killed it! Oh, my lovely baby Gia. Mom, y'all better get your autographs now.
My mom is crazy. Everyone laughed as Jin and Dad walked in, and the ladies totally lost it. Oh, didn't I tell you? Jin's rock band was a huge hit now, and the ladies love him. Seeing him living his dream made me proud even more. We've both come such a long way, but what people don't see are the sleepless nights, the setbacks, and the moments we almost gave up. It definitely wasn't easy, but every obstacle we faced made this moment even sweeter. Also, please check out my solo album. I promise you'll love it. And don't forget to comment on how much you loved it. Oh, I hate getting stuck in traffic. It makes my fingernails hurt. I swear the day they launch a flying car, I'm asking Dad to get me one. When I finally reached school an hour late, Miss Jules was ready to pounce on me.
Maeve, mind telling me why you're late to my class?
Oh, I got stuck in an insane traffic jam.
Well, that's not my fault.
And did I say it was your fault? Come on, Miss Jules, stop being such a prick. Apparently that wasn't a very wise thing to say to a teacher who had the principal wrapped around her pinky. In less than an hour, I found myself sitting in the principal's office with Miss Jules, the principal, and Ursula, aka my stepmom. Well, her real name is Camilla, but I prefer Ursula because that name totally suits her weird personality.
I can't believe you said that to poor Miss Jules. Your dad and I raised you better, Maeve.
Ouch!
What happened?
I think I may have hit my head and gotten amnesia because I can't remember you raising me, Ursula.
Stop calling me that! I'm gonna tell your dad to block your credit cards and ground you until you recall your manners.
And guess what? She literally did that.
Henry, it was okay until she called me all kinds of names, but now she's doing that to her teachers.
But Dad, Miss Jules went bonkers on me for no reason, so I just told her to stop being a prick.
What? That is totally unacceptable, Maeve.
You're right! You know what else is unacceptable? That you forgot my birthday last week, just like you did last year. I bolted out of there before Dad or his witch of a wife could get a chance to see the tears stinging my eyes. I should have gotten used to it by now, but it still hurt. You see, friends, I lost my mom the day I was born, but with Dad around, my childhood was perfect. We live in a huge mansion on the city outskirts, and Dad even shifted his office home so he could be with me 24/7. I had the best toys, best clothes, best nannies ever, and Dad made sure I never missed Mom. Heck, he even learned how to French braid my hair and would play house with me for hours. But everything changed on my 6th birthday. Dad went to attend a conference in London and came back with the cutest London Bridge replica and Camilla.
Hey, Maeve. I got you the best birthday present. A new mom.
Mom? But I didn't ask for a mom.
I know, sweetie, but I still got you one.
Even though Camilla stood at the door smiling, I could immediately sense she hated me. And she just confirmed my doubts a couple hours later when Dad went to bed.
I can't sleep. Can you read me a story?
I'm too tired right now, honey.
But I want you to read me a story, or I'll eat a whole jar of Nutella, get a sugar rush, and jump nonstop in the room above yours.
Listen, you brat. I'm not here to babysit you. Just stay out of my way if you don't want your dad to leave you.
Dad would never leave me. He loves me.
Not as much as he loves me. See this rock on my finger? It costs $3 gazillion. Has he ever given you anything as expensive? I suppose that was a lot of money, so I sadly shook my head. In the weeks that followed, Dad and Camilla were always attending parties, social events, and Dad hardly spent any time with me.
Dad, can you braid my hair like this doll?
Oh, sweetheart, he'd love to, but right now we have to attend the mayor's party.
Yes, Maeve, but I promise I'll do it when I'm back.
But that never happened, because I was fast asleep by the time they returned. Days blurred into months, and before I knew it, months had slipped into years. Dad's busy schedule became the norm, and I just got used to it. So while my life at home sucked, my school life more than made up for it. With Dad's credit cards, I bought crazy expensive stuff all the time and threw the sickest parties. Everyone who wanted to be someone had to attend one of my parties to be labeled cool. Okay, so back to the situation at hand. I was rushing out of the room before Dad or Ursula could see my tears when a loud bang made me stop in my tracks. What was that? I stammered.
Can it be that gang?
Ursula whispered, wide-eyed. What gang? That's when Dad told us a mafia gang had been demanding a huge sum of money from him. And when he refused, they threatened him to be prepared for the consequences. Dad stepped out of the room cautiously, but we soon discovered the noise was one of the servants dropping a bunch of silverware. Still, the incident left Dad totally paranoid. The next morning, he came to my room and dropped a bomb.
Maeve, I've told the police about the threats, and they suggested I move you to an unknown location until things get sorted.
What? But I can take care of myself. And what about you?
Camilla and I have hired bodyguards, so don't worry about us. Please, Maeve, I really can't take any chances with your safety.
Dad held my hand after a very long time, and it felt so good. Okay, but where will I go?
You'll find out tomorrow.
The next day, an officer whisked me off to a helicopter parked in our backyard. We flew for a couple hours and then landed on an isolated island in the middle of the ocean. Where the heck is this? Where's my hotel? Do they even have a spa here? Where will I go shopping?
Sorry, Miss Maeve, but you'll have to make do with what's available for a few days.
But why here? You could have taken me to the Bahamas or Hawaii or maybe the Caribbean.
Yeah, but this place is far safer.
The officer then guided me to a shack right on the beach. There was a girl my age waiting for me there, and she looked absolutely shocked to see me.
This will be your temporary home. Lamia, please make Miss Maeve comfortable.
Are you sure you picked the right girl?
Are you questioning the FBI?
No, of course not. It's just that, never mind. Hey, Maeve, I'm Lamia. And FYI, we're gonna be the bestest friends.
Lamia hugged me, and my nostrils filled with the scent of coconut and fish. Hi. Are you the only person on this island?
Of course not. There's a whole village down the road, but I prefer to stay alone, 'cause of my secret job.
Lamia started talking nonstop about how cool the island was and how glad she was that I was here to keep her company. And I got a headache already. How in the name of Gucci was I gonna survive in this sorry excuse of a house? I immediately excused myself to use the washroom, and once inside, I took my phone. There was no way I was staying here for an hour, let alone a few days. But to my horror, there was no signal, which meant I couldn't contact Dad at all. Ugh, what a bummer. When I walked out of the washroom a few minutes later, I saw Lamia staring at me strangely.
Are you sure your name is Maeve?
What? Of course, what sort of a question is that? Instead of replying, Lamia took my hand and led me to the road leading to the village. We walked for 10 minutes and then she stopped in front of a bakery. You made me walk 100 miles in the sun to buy some stupid cake?
Gosh, you talk too much. And FYI, we didn't even walk half a mile. Now just go inside and you'll get your answers.
Feeling a bit skeptical, I stepped inside the bakery. It was the most rundown place I'd ever seen, and it smelled terrible. As I looked around, my eyes finally settled on someone, and my heart stopped for a second. At the cash counter stood a girl who looked exactly like me. It was as if I was looking at my own reflection, only with a few more freckles, longer hair, and skinnier frame. When the girl saw me, she looked equally stunned. Who are you? Am I daydreaming again? She pinched herself to confirm she wasn't, and just then, a little kid appeared from behind the counter.
Whoa, Julia! This girl is what you look like if you eat 100 bagels!
Hey! Are you trying to say I'm fat?
No, I'm just saying my sister's thinner. That's because she doesn't get to eat much.
Shiro, stop. But Shiro was in no mood to stop.
You know our dad is a total jerk. If Julia doesn't sell anything, she doesn't get dinner. So please buy something. Julia makes amazing brownies. Even the bugs love them.
I looked at the brownies on display, and to my horror, I actually saw a tiny roach roaming between them. Shiro, back to your room now.
What? I was only trying to help.
Shiro left sulking, and I finally got the chance to talk to my doppelganger named Julia. If I didn't know any better, I'd think we were long-lost twins. Yeah, you look just like me. It's weird.
I know, right?
So weird. Anyway, I'm Maeve, and, about what Shiro said, is that true? No, of course not. Shiro has no filter, really. Would you like some brownies? On my very first day on this strange island, I didn't want to risk getting diarrhea, but I also wanted to buy something because I had a feeling Shiro wasn't lying. So I bought the only packaged product on the shelf, a loaf of bread. I thanked Julia and walked out, only to see Lamia feeding some stray dogs.
Hey, you're back! Wait, is that bread? And by the way, did you meet Julia?
Yeah, it's shocking how alike we look. I mean, we could totally pass off as twins. I also met her brother, Shiro.
Ah, Shiro. That little boy's what's keeping her alive. Otherwise, with that douchebag of a dad, Julia would have jumped into the ocean ages ago.
Lamia told me on our way back that Julia's mom left soon after giving birth to Shiro. Her dad was a good-for-nothing gambler who spent every penny she earned on betting. I felt a surge of pity as I recalled Julia's pale face. That's when I decided to give that bread to her and Shiro. I asked Lamia to take me to Julia's home, but just as I was about to enter, I heard someone shouting.
Give me all the money or I swear I'm gonna lock you up in that stinking storeroom.
But Daddy, I already gave you everything.
You think I'm a fool? Where'd you get the money to buy that little bloodsucker an ice cream?
I'd saved a few pennies. It's Shiro's birthday today.
How sweet, but you know I'm diabetic. Too much sweetness makes me sick. You wanna get me sick?
No, Daddy.
Then be a good girl and give me the money.
At this point, I was so freaking mad that I wanted to barge inside and practice some kung fu moves on that giant butthead. But before I could move, Shiro appeared beside me holding something that looked like a speaker. What's that?
Shh! A sailor gave it to me once. Now just watch its magic.
Shiro pressed a button and suddenly a loud police siren started blaring. That scared Julia's dad and he immediately left through the back door. The moment he was gone, Shiro and I rushed inside. Are you okay, Julia? Yes. That siren, was it you, Shiro?
Yeah. Scared the spit out of him, didn't it?
Why do you guys even put up with that monster? It's your hard-earned money. He has no right over it.
I keep telling her this, but Julia's too scared to stand up to him, and I'm too small to punch his ugly face.
Well, Julia's scared to stand up to her dad, but I am not. I told Julia and Shiro about the plan forming in my head, and they seemed a bit skeptical at first. Look, guys, this is your only chance to teach your dad a lesson, because I'll be gone from this island soon. That seemed to convince Shiro, but Julia was still unsure. But Maeve, why do you want to do this? Oh, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing this for me. I desperately need some form of entertainment or I'm gonna die of boredom on this island. After a little more convincing, Julia finally agreed. So we cut her hair a bit shorter like mine and quickly exchanged our clothes and, of course, our identities too. Then I briefed Julia a little about my life and she told me about hers. In case you need any more help, Shiro will guide you. Then Julia left and I suddenly felt super excited. I had this chance to be someone else for a while and I couldn't wait for the drama to begin. And it began only a few minutes later when Julia's dad made his grand appearance again. This time he was holding Shiro's speaker.
You filthy piece of junk! You tricked me into leaving, didn't you?
I didn't, but yeah, Shiro did. You must be a special kind of idiot to be fooled by a 7-year-old. Julia's dad looked like he'd seen a ghost, and a while later he literally started shaking with anger.
How dare you talk to your dad like that? I'll show you what I do to kids who talk back!
He went into the kitchen, took a fistful of chili powder, and came towards me menacingly. As he tried to make me eat it, I twisted his arm with one hand, took some of the powder from his fist with another, and then as he cried out in pain, I dumped the powder into his mouth. He gasped and choked and drank a whole bucket of water.
Ah! My mouth is on fire! Someone help!
I suggest you eat these brownies. The sugar helps balance out the spice. Shiro and I watched in amusement as he stuffed in one brownie after another. Unless he has really good digestion, those brownies are gonna give him a hard time. Or maybe a loose time. As I had predicted, Julia's dad got the runs the next day, and you can imagine after all the chilies he'd consumed, his butt would be on fire. Then one day, while Shiro and I were away buying some groceries, Julia's dad sneaked in and stole all the money we'd earned. His act got caught on my mobile's camera that I had purposely left behind because I knew he'd try to break in our absence. I showed the footage to the local authorities and got him arrested. Then, after bidding Shiro a rather tearful adieu, I headed to Lamia's shack.
Hey, Julia, you want something?
I'm Maeve, you idiot. I can't believe it was so easy to fool you. Lamia looked very confused, so I told her everything about mine and Julia's secret identity exchange program. Where's Julia? I can't wait to tell her what we did to her jerk dad.
Julia? She was Julia? Then why didn't she tell them anything?
Tell who? What are you saying, Lamia? What Lamia told me next made my blood run cold. She said 2 officers had come to take me home a couple of days ago, and Julia went back with them. What? Why didn't she tell them she wasn't Maeve?
How would I know? And FYI, you should have at least told me about your stupid little plan.
Lamia looked upset, and I shuddered at the thought of being stranded on that island indefinitely. Lamia, you have to send me back home. I'm not liking the sound of Julia pretending to be me and going back to my home.
But how can I? This island is in the middle of nowhere and hardly anyone ever visits.
Hearing that, I burst out crying as Lamia stroked my hair gently to console me. Days passed by, and with each passing second, I kept losing hope of ever getting back home. But then one day, a cargo ship docked on the island. One of its sailors was Lamia's old friend, and on her request, he agreed to let me get on board. After a few days of extreme seasickness, I finally reached home. But as soon as I set foot inside our mansion, I got the mother of all shocks. Before me was Julia sprawled on the couch wearing my designer dress while a maid painted her toenails. Julia, are you freaking crazy? Why didn't you tell those officers you were not Maeve? Do you have any idea what I had to go through? Julia looked shocked to see me, but then suddenly her facial expressions changed. Who are you? And what's all this Julia nonsense? Did you hit your head or something? I'm Maeve. Just then, Dad walked in and I was so happy to see him after so long. Oh, Dad, I missed you so much.
Who are you? And why do you look like my daughter?
What is wrong with everyone? I am your daughter. How can you not recognize me, Dad? Dad, don't listen to her. The poor girl looks to be mentally unstable. Oh, you backstabbing witch! I saved you from your dad, and this is how you repay me? I pounced on Julia like a wild animal. She screamed as I pulled her hair, but before I could do much damage, Dad called security guards and had me thrown out. I couldn't believe this was happening to me. I roamed the streets, still in shock, when I caught my reflection in a store's window. Gosh, I looked just like I'd survived a zombie apocalypse. My skin was burned after so much sun exposure. I'd lost a lot of weight, and my clothes, well, they looked worse than a beggar's. No wonder Dad didn't recognize me, but I had to reveal the truth. So that night, I planned to sneak into Julia's room, which was basically my room, to dig dirt on her. Thankfully, I knew exactly how to dodge the mansion's security cameras. That night, as I stumbled into my room, I found it empty. I heaved a sigh of relief, but the next second, Julia emerged from the bathroom. Oh, so you're back, Maeve. I thought you'd learned something from what happened earlier today. Why are you doing this? Well, I just got sick of that stupid island, so I decided to spice things up. And now that I've gotten a taste of your life, I'm never going back. And here I thought your dad was the ultimate douchebag. Didn't you think about Shiro even once? Shiro's tougher than you think. Besides, after I rob your foolish dad a little more, I plan on rescuing Shiro and starting a new life. Just then, the room's door burst open and Ursula walked in. Who are you talking to, Maeve?
Ursula looked stunned to see me, but before she could react, Julia started crying like a baby and ran to her.
It's that girl again! She's threatening to kill me! She's lying! And I am Maeve! Look, Ursula, I know we haven't been on great terms, but at least you believe me! And friends, guess what? My stepmom did believe me and got that moron Julia kicked out of our mansion in no time. Even Dad was surprised at how easily she had recognized me.
How are you so sure that this is our Maeve?
Well, no one else has ever dared to call me Ursula. Suddenly, she hugged me and I hugged her right back. I'm so sorry, Camilla. I always thought you hated me. I don't hate you, Maeve. I just needed more time to bond with you, but you immediately labeled me Ursula and shut me out completely.
From that day, Camilla and I became friends. And despite what Julia had done, I asked Dad to send her back to the island and even made sure she and Shiro had enough to get by for a few years. So friends, that's my confession for today. I absolutely hated my stepmom, but she taught me never to judge a book by its cover. If you liked my crazy story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Promise you won't regret it. I was getting ready for school when suddenly someone started banging on the door like crazy.
Mia, open the door! Open the door right now or I'm gonna tear it down!
I dropped the lip balm and rushed to open the freaking door. What happened, Mom? Are you okay?
I'm okay, but I guess you're not. What's that on your lips?
It's lip balm.
Where did you get it from?
I saved my pocket money to buy it.
Great! So now you're buying makeup with the money I'm giving you? I'm cutting off your allowance completely.
But Mom, it's just lip balm.
Today it's lip balm. Tomorrow it'll be lipstick. Who knows? Besides, why do you need a lip balm? To attract boys at school?
Mom! Girl, you've got no idea what jerks these boys are. I saw it firsthand with your dad, who was literally the king of morons. Now quick, give me that stupid balm and get going. You don't want to be late for school. I quietly handed over the lip balm to Mom and walked out. Oh, and Mia, no more locking the room. In fact, you don't even need to keep the door shut, cause what's there to hide from Mommy Dearest, right? I simply nodded and got out of the door as fast as possible. Why the heck was it so difficult for Mom to trust me? All my life, I'd worked so hard to make her happy, but nothing ever seemed to work. Like the day I won the first prize in the National Science Olympiad, I thought Mom would be super happy. Mom, look what I got! Zip it up, Mia, and out! Can't you see I'm on an important call?
But Mom, I won the Olympiad.
It's just a stupid Olympiad, not the Olympics. Now out and don't disturb me. That evening, I kept waiting for Mom to come out of her room, but she never did. At last, I had dinner alone, took my trophy, and put it in the cabinet along with several others I'd won over the years.
Hi, I'm Mia, and I have a confession to make. I let my super strict mom control me like a puppet for 16 years, until I started living a thrilling secret life that changed me forever. So, friends, I was born in Idaho to parents who were high school sweethearts. Mom tells me she and Dad got married at just 18 after a whirlwind romance. Sounds dreamy, right? But the reality was far from it. Turns out they realized they couldn't stand each other a few months into their marriage. And the day I was born, Dad just left us forever and moved to another city. That was the day Mom vowed her daughter would never suffer like she did. And the only way to ensure that was to make her so hideous, no boy would ever dare to look her way.
Mom, isn't this a little too big? And I don't like this color.
Oh, you look like a princess, my baby. The only thing missing is a tiara. Mom then put an aluminum foil tiara on my head and couldn't stop gushing about how royal I looked. It was crazy, but that was Mom, who always thought what she says is right, even when it wasn't. Her world had its own bizarre logic, and I had to follow it anyway. But her crazy attitude didn't stop here. Once in school, I tripped over a squirrel and landed hard on my butt. Out of courtesy, one of my classmates offered to walk me home, but when Mom saw him, she completely lost it.
Who is this, Mia? Hey, you! Shoo! How dare you walk with my daughter?
Mom, calm down. He's my classmate.
Then he should have stayed in class. What the heck is he doing here?
Before I could react, Mom grabbed the garden hose and started spraying water all over him.
Wow, your mom's a nutcase.
What did you just say, you smelly fungus? The poor boy bolted down the street with Mom chasing after him. The next day in school, everyone was talking about what a wacko my mom was, and I felt so embarrassed. Needless to say, I had 0 friends in school. During lunch break, everyone hung out with their group of friends while I just stayed back in class with my lunchbox that always had a sad peanut butter sandwich. To make things even worse, our class's self-proclaimed queen bee, Tasha, seemed to love making me her favorite target.
Hey, Mia, did you raid a homeless granny's wardrobe or what? Ew, your outfit literally smells like rotting flesh.
That rotting stench must be the garbage in your brain. Oh, but wait, do you even have one? Sounds like a great comeback, right? But I didn't say it out loud because that required a lot of guts and I didn't have any. And Tasha knew that. The only positive thing in my otherwise boring life was science. I'd always been a straight A student who topped every subject, but science had a special place in my heart. By the time I hit grade 12, a new student named Andrew joined our class. And imagine my shock when the teacher asked me to help him catch up with studies.
Hey, I hope helping me won't mess up your routine or anything.
No, not at all. Andrew smiled and I felt my heart skip a beat. Gosh, this guy looked perfect. I was suddenly very conscious of the sack-like dress I was wearing. And I also didn't miss the death glares Tasha was shooting my way. As expected, Tasha walked over to our table as soon as the class got over.
Hey, Andrew. Most guys call me gorgeous, but I go by the name Tasha.
Nice to meet you, Tasha.
Of course it's nice to meet me, but meeting her is a disaster. I don't know what the teacher was thinking when she paired you with her.
Don't worry, I'll show you who you can be friends with.
Well, I guess I'm smart enough to choose my own friends, so thanks, Tasha, but I think I'll stick with Mia.
Andrew held my hand and we both walked out the door as Tasha's jaw hit the floor. That was so cool! I've never seen Tasha look so mad.
But Mia, why do you let her bully you? The teacher told me about your grades and achievements. You're obviously far more brilliant than her.
Whoa, that was the first time someone had said something so nice about me. I'd won tons of trophies and medals, but all Mom ever said was,
"Don't let these trophies get to your head. You need to work harder."
I felt like every time I shined, Mom dimmed my light a little more. I couldn't stop thinking about what Andrew had said the entire day, and for days after that. And when he chose to hang out with me during lunch breaks, I felt incredible. Andrew made me realize how it was to feel cherished and wanted. Then one day, as I was walking back home, Andrew caught up with me and asked me to tutor him after school. Whoa. That was impossible. Mom would probably have a heart attack if I told her I was going to a guy's place for studies. Andrew, I don't think I can do it.
Oh, please, Mia, you have to help me or I'll flunk the exams.
Andrew kept insisting, so I finally relented and told Mom I'd be working on a project with a friend after school. And when she asked me the friend's name, I blurted out the first female name that came to mind, Tasha. Thankfully, she totally bought it. I did feel guilty about lying to her, but what choice did I have? So I pushed my guilt aside and accompanied Andrew to his home.
Oh, so you're Mia. Andrew keeps talking about you.
Andrew's mom had prepared a hearty lunch for us. It felt so strange to see Andrew and his parents laughing and chatting at the table. I couldn't remember the last time Mom and I had laughed together like that.
Mom, I got a B on my math test, and Mia got an A+.
Wow, Mia! Your mom must be so proud of you. I bet she can't stop flaunting your trophies.
I recalled the dusty cabinets that held my trophies and felt a little sad. Why couldn't my mom be like Andrew's? The next few days, I kept tutoring Andrew after school. He was a fast learner, and I really enjoyed spending time with him. Then one day, as we were studying, he asked me something crazy.
Mia, what's your secret desire?
To be a scientist?
Oh, come on, that's hardly a secret. I'm talking about something you've always wanted to do but never had the guts to.
Well, I've always wanted to see what I'd look like wearing makeup, but Mom doesn't allow it.
Wow, I didn't know your mom was this strict.
Well, she is. You know, sometimes I see birds flying and I just want to be like them. Free, without a care in the world.
Okay, this is something I can help you with. Come, follow me.
Hey, what about the lessons?
Those can wait.
Andrew kept giving me mysterious smiles when I asked where we were headed. Soon, we were at the top of a hill outside town.
This place is known for bungee jumping. Trust me, that's the closest one can ever get to flying.
Are you crazy? I've never even been on a Ferris wheel before.
What? Why?
Well, Mom's always busy. She says she doesn't have time for silly things like amusement parks.
Amusement parks are not silly, and neither is doing something fun that makes you feel alive.
I was still indecisive about the whole bungee jumping idea, but Andrew held my hand firmly.
Trust me, Mia, this will be the most amazing experience of your life, and we'll do it together.
I took a deep breath and agreed. What's the worst that could happen? Moments later, as they strapped harnesses on Andrew and me, my stomach twisted in knots.
Scared?
Just pray I don't pee my pants. Finally, we stood on the jumping platform. It felt like a scene from a movie, and when the guy yelled, "Jump!" we both dove into the void. For a moment, it felt like I was actually flying, like the birds. Soon, the fear was gone, and it was replaced with something incredible: confidence. Andrew and I jumped 3 times that day, and each jump made me realize what being free truly felt like. It was exhilarating. He even made me try mountain biking and paragliding. And with each new experience, I was rediscovering myself. I was no longer the meek, timid Mia. This new version of me wanted to fly, to take risks, and to live life for once without any fear. For the first time ever, I bought makeup with my savings, even if it was just mascara and lip gloss. But I was careful to not let Mom see it, so I took it to school and was applying it when Tasha walked in.
I'm sorry, Mia, but makeup isn't gonna hide your dumb personality.
I ignored her because I didn't want to ruin my good mood, but she just wouldn't stop.
Huh, I don't even know what Andrew sees in you.
Brains, maybe? Because it's clear you don't have any. Tasha looked at me like she'd seen a ghost. Heck, I myself was shocked that I'd said that out loud. But I had to admit, it felt great.
Oh, you low-life bug! How dare you talk to the queen like that?
Queen? Gosh, you're delusional. To me, you're about as important as a white crayon. Tasha's minion snickered as her face grew red with embarrassment. She didn't even know how to respond to that. Soon, our exams arrived and we all got busy. When the results were announced, Andrew passed with flying colors. I'm so proud of you, my student.
Thanks, teacher. And here's a token of thanks for helping me ace the exams.
I carefully opened the beautifully wrapped box, and inside it was a lovely crystal ball with the entire solar system in it. Oh, it's stunning.
Yeah, not as stunning as you, though.
Andrew looked at me so intently that I felt a million little firecrackers explode in my tummy. Then just as I thought he was about to kiss me, Tasha walked in.
Aw, that is so sweet. The ugly nerd finally got herself a boyfriend.
Tasha, I suggest you look at yourself before calling Mia ugly.
Andrew left the room angrily as Tasha looked ready to explode. She marched straight towards me, snatched the crystal ball from my hands, and smashed it into pieces. You witch! You've gone too far this time! I pounced on Tasha and we fought like wildcats. It took 4 teachers to finally separate us. We both ended up with scratches all over our bodies, and our hair looked like we'd gotten some electric shock. We were then taken to the principal's office.
I'm so disappointed in both of you. Tasha, you've always been a rule breaker, but Mia, you've left me speechless.
I'm sorry, sir, but it was Tasha's fault. I was just... Suddenly the door opened and my blood ran cold as I saw my mom and Tasha's mom walk in.
Now explain to your moms whose fault it is.
Mommy, this maniac pounced on me for no reason. Look at the bruises on my delicate body.
No, she's lying! She broke my crystal ball first! Wait, what crystal ball?
Oh, it's a stupid ball her boyfriend Andrew gave her. How lame is that?
Mom looked at me with fire in her eyes, and I just wanted to disappear. Tasha, Mia told me she was working with you on a project after school.
Ugh, as if. I'd never allow a peasant like her within a mile's radius of my mansion.
Mom suddenly looked too shocked. Then she grabbed my hand and we walked home. And once we were inside, she exploded. I can't believe I wasted my entire life on a liar like you. I'm sorry, Mom. I wanted to tell you I was tutoring Andrew. Then why didn't you?
Because I thought you'd be mad at me.
I just wanted to help him. Mia, do you have any idea how hard I work to buy you food and clothes, to send you to school? And what do you do in return? You go behind my back and date random boys.
I'm not dating anyone, Mom, I swear. And I'm sorry for lying to you.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't leave you when I had the chance, just like your dad did. Those words hit me like a blow, and something inside of me broke. Okay, that's enough, Mom. It's not like I asked to be brought into this world. You brought me here. And just because Dad left doesn't mean all guys in the world are jerks. Oh, so now you'll teach me.
Yes, I will. I'm sorry you had to go through tough times when Dad left, but it isn't my fault. I get that you're bitter, but Mom, I'm done letting you take it all out on me.
I went to my room and started packing my bags. What do you think you're doing? You take a step out of here and I'm never gonna let you in. I ignored Mom and kept stuffing my ugly clothes into the bag. That day, I left home for good. I called Andrew and told him everything. His parents let me stay in their home for a few days until I found a rented apartment. I started doing odd jobs to fund my education. After high school, I got into a prestigious college on a full scholarship and got a degree in advanced physics. One time, I was in New York to discuss a research paper with prominent physicists from all over the world. I put out my arguments in favor of the paper, and one particular physicist from London, Mr. James Cooper, seemed truly impressed with me.
Good job, Mia. I am really impressed.
He offered me an opportunity to work as his assistant for a couple of months, and I grabbed it instantly. The next thing I knew, I was flying to London with Mr. Cooper. I spent the next month assisting him, and it was such a wonderful learning experience. Then one day, I got a call from Andrew.
Mia, it's about your mom. She's been admitted to a mental asylum after she tried to harm herself.
I was shocked beyond words. Mom was a lot of things, but she wasn't weak. I'll take the next flight home. Although Mom hadn't been the best example of a parent, she was still my mom. I told Mr. Cooper about her, and he immediately offered to get my tickets booked.
Mia, give me your passport details. I'll need them to book the tickets.
I gave Mr. Cooper my passport, and when he looked at it, he looked absolutely shocked.
Your full name is Mia Volovitz Longbottom?
Yes, why? Is there a problem?
What's your mom's full name?
I told him that, and his face turned ghostly white. He immediately went inside his study and brought back a crumpled picture. It was of him and a woman who looked very familiar. Wait, that's my mom! Mr. James Cooper broke down all of a sudden.
I can't believe this. After all these years, I finally managed to find my daughter.
What? I'm your daughter? Mr. Cooper nodded, and suddenly, years of pent-up rage swelled inside me. So you're the douchebag who abandoned Mom and me the day I was born! Do you have any idea what my mom went through raising me all alone? She grew so angry and bitter, and she dumped all of that on me!
What are you saying, Mia? I didn't abandon you.
What Dad told me next left me shook. Apparently, right after getting married, Dad joined college while Mom dropped out when she found out she was pregnant with me.
I dreamed of becoming a top researcher so I could provide you both with the best of everything. I was juggling 2 jobs with college, so obviously I didn't have much time for your mom. Soon she got bored and found another man.
The revelation left me stunned.
One day I came back from college to find a note saying she was running away with her new love. I was devastated. I looked for her everywhere, but she'd simply vanished. Years later, I got to know from a common friend that her boyfriend dumped her when he found out she was pregnant.
So all these years, Mom was lying to me. I kept hating you for abandoning us when it was Mom who really abandoned you.
I'm sure she must have had her reasons.
I can't believe you just said that after everything Mom did to you.
Mia, I've realized forgiveness is everything. Yes, it doesn't change the past, but it does make the future more beautiful.
That evening, Dad and I flew to Idaho to see Mom. When we finally met her, she recognized me but didn't recognize Dad. The doctors said she was undergoing treatment for extreme depression. Thanks to Dad's wise words, I forgave her and kept visiting her from time to time. Then, 3 years later, I experienced the happiest day of my life when Dad walked me down the aisle as Andrew looked at me lovingly from the altar.
The door creaked open and I jumped out of my bed, my heart thudding. I knew what was going to happen next. It was Dad!
It's time for a pizza party!
I ran to him giggling when suddenly I felt something pulling me back.
Come on, little feet, move! I want pizza!
Not so fast, wild child. Oh no, it was Nora, my older sister. You've got 1,000 germs on each fingertip, so you need to wash your hands before you eat or you'll get sick. I stomped over the bathroom.
Ugh, party pooper!
Hi everyone, I'm Sienna from Aruba, and today I'm diving into one of the wildest chapters of my life. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to Confession Diary. All right, let's jump in. You see, my parents worked all the time. Mom was a waitress and Dad was a pizza delivery guy. So over time, Nora became kind of my mini-mom. And since she was 6 years older than me, I had to do everything she said. Ever since I can remember, Nora was all about rules and routines, whereas I was the wild child. I was always playing games and getting into fights. But the one thing I loved most, even at 5, was messing around with Mom's makeup. But of course, Nora was always pooping on my parade. Put down Mom's nail polish. This is the expensive one. Clean up your side of the room. Do your homework, C. Eat vegetables. Did you brush your teeth? Ugh, annoying, right? So naturally, I was always annoying her right back.
Nora, do you think I could make the world's biggest booger ball and get in the Guinness Book of World Records?
Yuck, get away from me. Another time I had eaten tons of beans and I was practicing my farts.
Nora, do you smell that? That's my best fart of the day.
Ew! It was a riot and I loved it. You see, even though she was super annoying and we fought a lot, Nora was always there for me, whether it was to cheer me up or chase a rat out of the house. So every night before bed, I'd close my eyes tight, fold my hands, and whisper,
"Thank you for my parents, and thank you for Nora, the best big sister ever. Please always keep her close by. I wouldn't trade her for anything, not even 1,000 puppies."
But as we grew older, Nora and I dove into our own worlds. She was super crazy smart and wanted to get into some fancy college overseas, while yours truly was busy scrolling through TikTok and perfecting her makeup looks. And mind you, it paid off too. By 14, I was the most popular girl at school and one of the prettiest. My grades were just okay, but I had 50,000 TikTok subscribers. I was basically winning at life. Or so I thought. One night, while I was doing a TikTok live, Nora just burst into my room. I got it! I got the scholarship! I'm going to Europe to study! I was thrilled and hugged her. I'm so proud of you! But as we danced around in excitement, suddenly Nora's face darkened and she looked miserable. What is it? How am I supposed to go to another country? I don't have a passport. Plane tickets cost a fortune. I need hotel accommodation till my dorm is ready. This is just so frustrating. Hey, we've got a few months. I'm sure we can find a way. Forget it. I'll just go to a community college. Mom and Dad have enough on their plates. Don't worry about it. As if! There was no way I was letting my sister's dream slip away after everything she had done for me. So no matter what it took, I would find a way to make it happen. Idea number 1, bake sale. Sure, my cookies turned out like charred hockey pucks, but did that stop me? Nope. I packed them in a cute basket with a sign that read, "Amazing charcoal cookies, great for your skin." Step right up, folks! Healthy charcoal cookies are sold right here. And would you believe it? People actually bought them. But when one brave soul took a bite, their face twisted like they'd bitten into a piece of poop.
I want a refund.
Suddenly, I was being chased by an angry mob. Epic fail. Idea number 2, Sienna's superstar dog grooming. After binge-watching TikTok tutorials, I was ready to turn Fluffy the poodle into a superstar. But instead, I turned her into something straight out of a horror movie.
Oh my god, what have you done to my baby?
And then it hit me. Why not do something I was actually good at? Idea number 3, makeup. So I set up a little glam makeover booth at the park, complete with my best brushes, a mirror, and a cute sign that read, "Makeovers only $10. Help me send my sister to college." I went all out, giving everyone bold lips, sparkly eyes, and even trendy fake freckles. While I worked my magic, Mom and Dad took Nora to get her passport and even joined in to help. After a few months, we raised enough money to send Nora to college. Thank you, Sienna. You're the best. I know. Exactly 1 week later, it was time for Nora to leave. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so proud of you.
Do your best, honey. That's all we expect from you.
As excited as I was for Nora to live her dreams, it kind of hit me hard. Things were changing, and I wasn't sure how I'd manage without my sister by my side. What am I going to do without you? I'm only a phone call away, baby sis. But when Nora left for college, I missed her so much. I even missed her bossiness. At first, we kept in touch constantly, but then her calls and texts got fewer. To keep busy, I poured myself into makeup, filming TikToks so I wouldn't feel the silence at home. My videos started blowing up, my follower count soared, and people loved my work. Hey guys, it's your girl, Cece with another glam doll. Tell me what you think about this look in the comments. But every time I walked past her empty bed, I felt the ache of missing her all over again. But then 2 years later, something amazing happened. On my 16th birthday, I walked through the front door and got the biggest surprise. Nora! I launched myself into her arms. Hey, wild child, I missed you. I missed you too. That night, Mom and Dad stayed home and whipped up Nora's favorite dinner, spaghetti with extra cheese. Total yum. After dinner, Nora and I stayed up late, spilling all the juicy deets, assignments, makeup hacks, and yes, the latest gossip about boys. We talked for hours. And the next day, I had a plan. A brand new amusement park had just opened nearby and I was dying to go. Oh, come on, scaredy cat. It'll be epic. You know I hate heights. Those rides make my stomach queasy. Please. I pouted and I could see I was breaking her down. Gotcha. Later that night, I was practically bouncing off the walls with excitement as we walked through the entrance of the amusement park. I dragged her onto every ride I could find. Each time she was clutching the safety bar, I squeezed shut while I screamed my head off, loving every second of it. Then came the ultimate challenge, the cyclone. It was massive, towering above the rest of the park, and I knew we had to try it. Nora looked like she was going to run, but instead she took a deep breath, squeezed my hand. For you, Sienna. And that's the spirit, sis. We strapped in and the ride started moving, spinning us higher and higher. But then I felt it, a jerk. Oh my God, something was wrong. The cyclone jolted violently and we both screamed. Suddenly the ride began to shake and screams erupted from the crowd around us. I felt my heart racing as the world spun wildly. We clung to each other as the ride tilted, pushing Nora closer and closer to the edge. My grip on Nora was slipping and I could see fear in her eyes. Nora, please don't let me go! And then she slipped right out of my hands. Nora! Within minutes, the best night ever had turned into a total nightmare, and I was devastated with guilt. By the time Nora and I got to the hospital, Mom and Dad were already there. They looked horrified, and all I could think was, this was all my fault. I should have never pushed her to go to the park. 3 days later, Nora finally woke up, and I could hear her voice all the way down the hall. Are you serious? I asked for cold water, not this lukewarm toe jam juice. I rushed in and was shocked to see Nora in full-on diva mode glaring at a poor nurse. Without a second thought, I ran to hug her. Oh, Nora, you're awake! She pushed me away. Move, dweeb! Mom gave her the look, the serious one. Nora, don't treat your sister like that. The same sister who landed me in this nightmare? My worst fear was activated. She blamed me. The doctor told Mom that Nora's behavior was shock from the accident and to just give her time for her emotions to balance out. To make Nora feel better, I planned a welcome home party, hoping she'd forgive me. But when she came through the door with Mom and Dad, she glanced at everything for exactly 0.2 seconds, marched right to our room, and began tossing my stuff out like trash. Nora, what are you doing? Like I'd share a room with you. Then she gave me a strange look before she slammed the door in my face. My heart sank faster than the Titanic, and I felt my eyes start to sting. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Let's just give her space.
We'll clean the attic. You can have your own room.
And by we, Dad really meant me, since Nora's hospital bills had them working extra shifts. So I spent a week cleaning the dusty, spider-infested attic, trying to ignore the hole in my heart. All right, quick question before I continue. Do you guys know about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? The whole deal where Dr. Jekyll, this nice, polite guy, literally transforms into a total jerk, Mr. Hyde? Well, let me tell you, Nora was straight up living that Mr. Hyde vibe. It was like someone pressed the reset button on her and found ways to make my life absolutely miserable. Like changing my toothpaste to shaving cream and tearing up all my homework assignments. It felt like every week she found a new way to mess with me, but a part of me felt as though I deserved it. And that wasn't all. She was hanging out with the bad crowd, sneaking out all night. Heck, she didn't even want to finish college anymore. One evening, I was going home when, out of nowhere, something slimy and fishy fell straight onto me. What in the holy mackerel? A fishnet? Is someone trying to kidnap me? I panicked and began karate chopping the net like a crazy person. The more I chopped, the more tangled I got. Ah, let me go! Just when I was about to fully lose it, I heard a voice.
Whoa, hold on.
I froze. It was the cute neighbor who just moved in a few houses away a couple of days ago.
Oops, sorry about that. I was practicing casting a net, but I bet no fish would be as pretty as this one.
Great, of all the times to get complimented. By the time I finally got untangled from the net, I smelled like I had just crawled out of the ocean. So as soon as I was free, I ran home, too embarrassed. But as soon as I burst through the front door, I was shocked to see a full-blown party by Nora. I tried to sneak past, hoping no one would notice me, but Nora saw me. Hey, Ursula, your smell now matches your face. Totally gross. No, my smell matches your personality. It stinks. For a moment, her icy glare faltered, but I was way too angry to care. What did you say to me, fish face? I said that. Before I could finish, she dumped a bowl of punch on my head. Loser. I lunged at her, but before I could even land a hit, someone scooped me up and flung me out of the house. Out of my own house. And who do I land on? The cute neighbor, of course.
Hey, are you okay?
I was so embarrassed. This was the worst thing ever, right? Well, wrong. Then suddenly it started raining like crazy. I was completely overwhelmed, and before I knew it, I just burst into tears. Why is all of this happening to me? The cute neighbor didn't try to rush me or tell me everything would be fine. He just sat next to me, quiet, letting me cry it out. After a while, he pulled me into a hug. It felt nice, like I wasn't alone. I looked up at him, embarrassed but grateful. Thanks.
No problem. I'm Finn, by the way.
I'm Sienna.
Well, Sienna, you want to come over to my place? You can change out of those wet clothes, and my mom just finished making dinner, if you're hungry.
I wiped my face and nodded. I'd love to. After having an amazing dinner at Finn's place, he told me more about him and his family. They just moved here to start fresh because his dad, a fisherman, got hurt and had to switch jobs. Then I ended up spilling everything to Finn about Nora, the accident, and the guilt.
Look, you're not responsible for what happened to Nora. But maybe you and your parents can talk to her about how it's affecting you.
After our talk, I called my parents and told them everything that happened earlier and everything Nora had been putting me through. The next day, we tried to talk to Nora.
Honey, why are you treating Sienna this way?
Instead of responding, Nora's eyes filled with tears and she stormed off, slamming the door behind her. Mom, do you think Nora will ever come back to how she was? Mom looked at me and I could tell she wasn't sure.
Sweetheart, I sure hope so.
In the weeks that followed, I tried to stay as far from Nora as I could. Finn and I became best friends. He helped me get my grades up, and we even started doing TikTok videos together. His parents helped too, making homemade meals for my family when Mom and Dad worked double shifts. And then something amazing happened. Finn's mom started telling her friends about my makeup videos. And before I knew it, I got my first makeup sponsor. Can you imagine? Me, sponsored! When the first check came in, I used part of it to take our families out for a nice dinner to celebrate. Nora obviously said no, but just when we were about to order dessert, Nora showed up late. She was wearing the kind of tight short dress that could stop traffic, and she immediately glued herself to Finn. Who needs dessert when I've got you here, Finn? Finn, I think you and I will make the perfect couple, don't you think? She was flirting with him, and that made my blood boil. I had had enough. Nora, can you please stop? She looked at me with this cold, amused smirk. Or what? You're gonna fight me for the man of your dreams? Then, as if in slow motion, Nora did the worst thing possible. She pulled out my confession diary, the one place I'd let myself pour out every secret, every thought about Finn, and started reading it out loud. Oh, Finn, how I wish you were mine. Finn, you looked super cute in that jacket today. His dimples are just gorgeous. I wish I could just sink into them. My cheeks burned, and I felt Finn's eyes on me. I wanted to evaporate. Suddenly, my body moved before I knew what was happening. I jumped on Nora and began to pull at her hair like a lunatic. Mom and Dad managed to pry me off, and I stormed outside to cool off. I was pacing and fuming when Finn came out.
Sienna,
Just then, I saw Nora exit the restaurant. I ran to her. Nora! What is your problem? Get off me! Without warning, she pushed me hard. I stumbled backward right into the street. The next thing I knew, there was a blaring horn and blinding headlights heading right at me. I was too scared to move, but then I felt a strong hand pull me, pulling me to the sidewalk. Then Finn was beside me as I tried to breathe, still in shock. But as soon as Finn saw I was okay, he got up and left. I was so devastated. This could only mean one thing. He was creeped out by me and my diary. Then I saw Nora just standing there, her face pale and scared. She turned and ran. I didn't feel angry anymore. I just felt worried. That night when I got home, Nora was nowhere to be found. I waited until I heard her sneak into her room. I made my way to her door and heard Nora crying. Nora, I'm coming in. She looked so lost. Sienna, I'm sorry. I don't know why I do these things. It's like I can't stop it. Please help me. But as quickly as her vulnerability showed, she snapped. Get out of my room! Get out! Just before the door slammed, I heard her yell, I'm sorry, Sienna! I rushed to my parents and told them about Nora's weird behavior. I don't think Nora's behavior is just from shock from the accident. I think there's something more to it. My parents agreed to take her to the doctor, who ran some tests and turned out Nora had frontal lobe syndrome. The injury had changed the way her brain worked, affecting her personality and behavior. He explained that while she might never fully recover, medication could help manage her impulses and behaviors. So over the next few weeks, I threw myself into spending time with Nora. It was like we were finally starting to heal, like maybe things could be good again. She even told our parents that she decided to go to college closer to home. I was finally happy again, even though I felt like I had lost Finn. One night, as we were chilling, Nora said something that caught me off guard. Sienna, I'm sorry for reading your diary out loud like that. You've been miserable the past few weeks without Finn. It was like she could see right through me. I missed Finn so much. I'm way too embarrassed to even look him in the face. And I think he's avoiding me too. But you should talk to him. Maybe he feels the same way, but if you don't, you'll be stuck wondering what if forever. I told her I'd think about it and went to sleep. The next morning, Nora burst into my room. Hey, have you seen the suspect challenge on TikTok? What? No, I've been too busy for TikTok. Check it out, it's so cool. Nora plopped next to me and showed me her phone. It was her jogging. I chuckled when I suddenly heard something that woke me up. Finn's voice in the background.
Suspect has a beautiful younger sister I really like.
I looked at Nora, surprised, but she just pointed at her phone where now Finn was running. Behind the camera, Nora's voice said, the suspect is currently on the front lawn, waiting with a bouquet of roses for the girl who's been avoiding him. My heart fluttered. Go get your man. I practically flew out, and there he was, looking as handsome as ever.
Hey, I've been thinking about you a lot. About us. Do you really like me?
Hello? You heard what was in my diary? You're the one ignoring me.
Well, I wasn't sure if Nora was setting you up, and I didn't want to ruin our friendship. But then she told me you wrote it, and I had to ask you. Would you be my girlfriend, and maybe go on a date with me this weekend?
I wrapped my hands around his neck and pulled him close. Suspect has a girlfriend and a date this weekend.
Ready or not, here I come. Where are you, little monkey? Where are you?
I saw Dad coming, so I jumped up, laughing like the genius I was. But in my brilliance, I forgot about the stairs. One misstep and I tumbled down, landing with a thud. The last thing I heard was Mom screaming, Dorothy! And just like that, I died. Like, literally. Hiya, I'm Dorothy Eady, born in Blackheath, London in 1904. Sounds normal, right? Wrong. I'm the girl who came back from the dead. Yup, you heard me right. I died and then popped back like, surprise, not done yet. Oh, and the kicker? I returned with memories of my real family from 3,000 years ago. Crazy, right? So buckle up, because this story is gonna be wild. I had the best parents ever. Mom spoiled me rotten, and Dad, who was a master tailor, made sure we were always the best-dressed duo in town. Like, picture a toddler serving looks. That was me. For the first 3 years of my life, before everything flipped upside down, I had it all. Matching cute dresses with Mom? Check. Playing hide and seek with Dad? Double check. Endless toys, fun trips to the park, and all the giggles a kid could ask for? Triple check. Life was basically one big happy adventure, until it wasn't. When I opened my eyes, I saw some strange people hysterically crying around me like someone had died. OMG, so dramatic.
What happened?
Oh my, Dorothy? Oh, she's awake! Our child is awake! Carol! Oh, my baby!
If I wasn't dead already, then my parents would definitely have smothered me to death with hugs and kisses. Jeez. Just then, the doctor came to examine me, and it looked like he'd seen a ghost.
I don't understand. Her heart clearly stopped, and she was not alive. Literally.
But my dad instantly grabbed the doctor by his collar and kicked him out.
You moron! Wait, can I just check again? This is a medical mystery. Out! Now!
Gosh, my parents were so scary, but I couldn't blame them. You see, the doctor had pronounced me dead from the fall, but now I was back all new and shiny like the fall never happened. Amazing news, right? Wrong, because when I woke up, I threw the worst tantrum ever.
I wanna go home!
But, honey, this is your home.
No, it is not my home. I don't like it here, please.
Let's just say that night ended with a lot of rocking and desperate lullabies. My parents were clearly confused, and for weeks they tried everything to make me feel comfortable and bring the old version of me back with my favorite food and snacks, but nothing seemed to work.
Honey, here, I brought you your favorite drink.
I don't want it.
Dorothy! I ran into the garden, grabbed the garden hose, determined to find my way back home, and started waving it around like it's a magical staff or something.
Take me home, please. Show me the way. You're my loyal steed, Prince Whiskers. Guide me to my land.
Dorothy! This is not an episode from Wizard of Oz! Put the hose down before you flood the garden! By the time Mom got hold of the hose, we were all drenched from head to toe. After that first crazy tantrum, things didn't exactly get better. I kept throwing fits, full-on screaming and demanding to be taken back to Egypt. My parents tried everything, calming me down, distracting me, but nothing worked. Finally, when my parents realized I wasn't getting any better, they took me to the doctor. After running some tests, the doctor shrugged and said,
It's just the side effects of her fall. Nothing to worry about.
But trust me, I wasn't buying it. There had to be more to this. As if on cue, my vivid dreams started getting even clearer. I saw big columns, lush gardens, and flowers everywhere. It was so real, like I was really there. And then the dreams didn't stop. They kept coming. A few months later, I started dreaming about this gorgeous place that felt like home. It was all so familiar, and I just knew this couldn't be a coincidence. And when I turned 6, my parents took me to the British Museum, hoping it would snap me out of my Egypt phase. But boy, were they in for a rude shock. At first, I was all grumpy and ready to leave the museum. Snooze fest. But then, I saw it. A photo in one of the exhibit rooms.
There! That's my home! But where are the trees? The gardens?
This was the temple of Seti I in Egypt. Seti was the father of Ramses the Great, about 3,000 years ago. What? Mom almost choked, and Dad looked like a bomb had just exploded in his head. While my parents were panicking, I was too busy losing my mind. I ran around the Egyptian exhibit like I owned the place, kissing the statue's feet and yelling,
I'm finally among my people! It's been too long, my people. I miss you!
That is totally not normal. Not normal? Yeah, right. For the first time surrounded by statues, hieroglyphs, and ancient Egypt artifacts, I felt it. That warm, tingly home feeling. So I decided I was going to live here. Honey, come on now. It's time to go home.
No! Leave me here! These are my people! I want to stay here!
How did my parents finally get me to leave the museum that day? Oh, let's just say it involved lots of kicking, screaming, and you can't make me tantrums. Spoiler alert, they totally did. But things got even weirder after that trip. My dreams became more vivid, like movie-quality vivid, and I started speaking with this strange accent, which confused everyone around me even more. As my curiosity grew, I dove headfirst into every Egyptian book I could find. But no matter how much I studied, I still couldn't figure out why I felt this overwhelming connection to Egypt. Eventually, my parents got pretty fed up with my constant weirdness, so I figured, why not act better and give them a break? I mean, no one wants to annoy their parents forever, right? But deep down, I was still obsessed with Egypt. Then, when I turned 14, I had a dream that totally flipped my life forever. I was strolling through this gorgeous garden when suddenly a blinding light appeared. My knees hit the ground faster than I could blink, and this beautiful figure appeared before me.
Om Seti, my beloved.
Oh, my,
Snap out of it, woman. Focus, my beloved. I am Hora. Your name is Bentreshit, priestess of Abidos. You must come back home. Your people need you.
And just like that, I woke up, bolted out of bed, and ran straight into my parents' room, practically scaring them out of their pajamas. Bentreshit! My name is Bentreshit! Dorothy, it's the middle of the night. What are you going on about? I just had a vision. My name is Bentreshit, and I was Hora's beloved. We lived in Abidos.
Sorry, who's beloved?
Hora's! Oh, Dad, you should have seen him. He needs me to come home. Snap out of it. Go back to bed, Dorothy. You're just dreaming. We'll talk about it in the morning.
Why does everyone keep telling me to snap out of it? But I didn't snap out of it. In fact, I went all in because finally I knew who I was and nothing anyone said was going to ruin this for me. By morning, I had covered entire notebooks with hieroglyphics I'd never written before in my life. It was like muscle memory. Mom and Dad thought I'd officially lost it, but I had a mission now to live, breathe, and someday reach my real home. Of course, my obsession didn't always go over well. Like one time I got kicked out of youth Sunday school for casually dropping Egyptian mythology into every conversation. Actually, did you know Cleopatra wasn't Egyptian?
Excuse me?
Yeah, she was Greek. Her family came from Greece, but she ruled Egypt like a boss.
Dorothy, that is not what we're talking about today.
I know, but honestly, Egypt's way cooler to study than anything, you know? They even had cats in their pyramids. Imagine your cat chilling in a tomb for thousands of years.
Ugh, out!
Yeah, that didn't win me any teacher's pet awards, and I got kicked right out of class, but hey, someone had to say it. I had to continue studying despite getting kicked out of school. So one day my dad, who is super supportive now, not that he had a choice, to be honest, gave me the best surprise ever.
Remember how you always wanted to live in the museum when you were little?
Wait, are you finally letting me move in?
Even better, I'm introducing you to someone.
Who? Is it Tutankhamun's ghost?
No more ghosts, Dorothy. Wallace Budgie, my friend and a real-life Egyptologist.
Wow, I was super excited. Mr. Budgie was a regular at our house, always bringing new books and stories about Egypt. His visits were like mini lessons that made my mind race with excitement. Soon Dad and I were touring museums and archaeological sites all over Britain with him. Each trip felt like stepping into ancient Egypt, and I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to this obsession. But I didn't just want to study Egypt. I wanted to live it, breathe it. So at 16, I joined Plymouth Art School and even snagged a spot in a theater group that performed the story of Isis and Osiris. Naturally, I landed the role of Isis. The directors were skeptical at first, but I wowed them with my knowledge of Egyptian history and language, which I'd been trying to perfect through the years.
Dorothy, can you bring something special to this role?
Nebet Het! I am Isis, queen of magic, mistress of life and death. Bow before me! The room went silent. Then the director started clapping. Let's just say I slayed as Isis. Literally. By 21, I'd learned so much about Egypt that when I applied for a job at a London-based Egyptian public relations magazine, they hired me instantly. I wrote articles and sketched cartoons that oozed my love for Egypt, and soon my work was everywhere. My department couldn't get enough of it. Then came the office cultural event, and I was ready to slay. White dress, blue and gold belt, gold sandals, chunky jewelry, and a crown that screamed queen vibes.
Wow, Dorothy, you're so gorgeous.
Where did you buy that?
Wowzer, you look like an actual goddess, Dorothy.
Yes, keep them coming. I was basking in the glory of their compliments, even doing the most chaotic offbeat catwalk you've ever seen when someone yelled something that made me freeze mid-walk.
Beloved goddess.
I spun around and locked eyes with the most gorgeous guy I had ever seen, and he was walking straight toward me. OMG, he's so good looking.
You're Dorothy Edie, right? I've read all your articles and your cartoons are incredible. I'm a huge fan.
Hi, Dorothy. Oh yeah, you already knew that.
I'm Imam Abdel. I'm an Egyptian student doing research for a school project. I wanted to look at your work and maybe get an interview.
Abdel was super cute and Egyptian, and we clicked immediately. Plus, he seemed absolutely smitten with me and my work. So naturally, I dazzled him with my ancient Egyptian trivia. In a matter of days, we became inseparable. We talked about everything. I told him my crazy story, and for some reason, he believed me.
Oh, that explains how you know all this stuff. That's pretty amazing. You really are a goddess, aren't you?
In no time, I started to think, wow, he might actually be my Prince Charming. Until he announced one day that he was going back to Egypt. What? Without me?
I'll keep in touch, my beloved goddess.
Beloved goddess? Excuse me? You don't just call someone your goddess and then leave them behind? I was devastated, but true to his word, Abdel sent me letters for months. He wrote about everything. Life, dreams, Egypt, of course. Then one day, the letter arrived. Inside was a one-way ticket to Cairo and a note that said, I can't stop thinking about you, my goddess. Please come to Egypt, marry me. OMG, my hands were shaking, my heart practically doing backflips. This was everything I'd been dreaming of. I was going to marry the love of my life in my motherland, Egypt.
Wow, I was finally going home! Saying goodbye to my parents wasn't easy, but I promised them I'd be fine and that I'd visit them. The second I stepped off the boat in Cairo, I legit dropped to my knees and kissed the ground. Everyone froze, staring at me like I'd lost it. Egypt was everything, beyond my wildest dreams, fantasies, and even my over-the-top daydreams. I'm finally home! Abdel came to pick me up, and then he took me to a quiet spot by the River Nile just as the sun was setting. With a soft smile, he took my hand and asked,
Will you be mine forever?
I said yes, and with that he twirled me around, lifting me off the ground. Life was perfect. The wedding was straight out of a fairy tale. It felt magical. Eventually, a famous archaeologist at the Department of Antiquities offered me a job as a secretary and draftswoman.
Oh my god, did they really hire you?
Yes, of course.
That's amazing, honey. They've never hired a woman before.
At first, my work there was pretty basic. I helped them fix their English and stuff like that, but slowly, as they found out about my connection with Egypt and my vast knowledge of ancient times, I began to grow more important at work. I started working very hard all day and night. Then my son was born. I named him Seti, after the Egyptian pharaoh. A few years later, my husband went to teach in Iraq, and by then I was so caught up with work that we drifted apart. Not that I was mad at him. I had enough to keep me busy. You see, now that I was in Egypt, I started spending a lot of time at the pyramids in Giza. As the news of my reincarnation and knowledge spread like wildfire, people started being fascinated by me and would gather around me all the time. She's incredible. Wow, she's so brave. After a few years, the most incredible thing happened. I was offered a job in Abidos. Even though it paid very little, I could go back to my real home. But soon after I landed, I faced a huge test. Abidos wasn't quite like my dream. No gardens or butterflies. But the moment I stepped on the land, I knew I was home. Something just clicked. I walked barefoot, totally in my element. And before I knew it, I was publishing articles, translating hieroglyphics like a pro, and earning serious respect, and things were great. But then the new chief of antiquities showed up and wasn't buying my obsession with Egypt. Guess he wasn't convinced by my very strong connection to the place. I mean, what's new, am I right?
You know a lot about Egypt, I'll give you that. But a reincarnated princess? Come on.
Tell me how to prove it, and I'll prove it. His challenge was simple, at least for me, a nighttime tour of the Temple of Seti. But here's the kicker. There was no map, no lights, and oh yeah, I'd never been there in this life. Talk about pressure. With just a torch in hand, I led him through every twist, turn, and hidden corner of the temple like I'd lived there my whole life. He kept trying to stump me, but I had all the answers. I mean, I even showed him secret passageways and tunnels. By the end, the chief looked like he'd seen a ghost.
How did you do that? How do you know all that? You really lived here.
Pretty sure I've been saying that all my life. But I had another surprise for him. There, that's where the gardens were. And if you dig there, you'll find a secret tunnel. The inspector was so shocked that he ordered the areas to be excavated, and sure enough, they found the garden I had seen in my dreams all these years ago. And they found the secret tunnel too. After that, I found it impossible to leave the temple and was eventually named custodian of Abidos. I was so good at my job that even when I retired from the department, they decided to extend my term for another 5 years. Finally, after all these years, people believed me. Not only had I finally found my real home, but also helped countless archaeologists find out more about the amazing time my people were alive. In fact, I became so famous that the BBC even made a documentary about me. So I guess they're right when they say don't give up on your dreams. I was rushing to reach school in time when a nightmarish scene played out before my eyes. In the alley behind our school, some shady guys were burning a stack of papers. When they saw me, they panicked and threw the lighter over the wall. The stupid thing exploded, and before any of us could react, one of the classrooms was on fire.
You jerks! Look at what you did! Oh my god! Oh my god!
The guys ran away at top speed, and I rushed to the school as fast as my tiny legs could carry me. In a few minutes, there was pure chaos. Students were rushing out of the building, and I could even hear the fire truck alarm blaring at a distance. But just then, I saw something that was even more horrific. Asher, the tiniest kid in my class, got stuck inside the classroom, and he was banging on the window wildly. Oh no! I rushed closer and noticed the doorway was on fire. The only way to escape was through the window, but considering Asher's height, probably it wasn't possible.
Think, Gia, think! You have to save him!
I looked around and grabbed the biggest piece of stone I could lift.
Asher, move back! I'm breaking the glass!
I
threw the stone at the window with all my might and the glass shattered in no time. Wisps of black smoke rolled out and I could hear Asher coughing wildly. By that time, firemen had also arrived and they helped pull Asher out. Thankfully, the fire was doused in a few hours, and that entire day, everyone couldn't stop praising my heroic act. Meanwhile, me, I was just glad Asher was okay. Hi folks, I'm Gia, and I have a confession to make. My simple life was flipped upside down by one unexpected accident. What started as an ordinary day turned into a wild ride filled with surprises and secrets. Stay tuned for this thrilling adventure. And yes, don't forget to like and subscribe to Confession Diary for more jaw-dropping tales. So after that insanely chaotic day, Asher was like my shadow, always by my side, totally inseparable. He even nicknamed me Spidey, after how I'd saved him that day.
Spidey, I can do anything for you. Your wish is my command.
The guy literally worshipped me, but sometimes he really went overboard. Like this one time I told him I wanted to visit Disneyland someday, and he used his dad's credit card to book tickets for both of us.
Asher, you realize Disneyland is in Paris and we live in Budapest? Oh, is it? I had no idea. Oh man, are you for real?
When his dad found out what he had done, he was grounded for a week. With Asher around, my life at school was pretty cool, but at home, not so much. You see, my parents had totally contrasting personalities. Mom was a nature lover and loved to have a simple life, but Dad was an out-and-out materialistic man. There was nothing more important to him than his business and money.
Ugh, you're wearing that dress to dinner? All my colleagues will be there. They'll think I married a clown bozo.
Well, your mom got me this dress, so they'll know. You're the ringmaster of this circus.
Ugh.
On my 10th birthday, Dad gave me the most shocking birthday present. He married another woman and left us forever. I was devastated. I kept calling him for days, but his stupid new wife never let me talk to him. After a few weeks, I simply gave up. Meanwhile, Mom couldn't afford to live in the huge mansion, so we shifted to a small cottage in the city outskirts. Mom opened a small farm where we kept animals and grew vegetables. Mom worked really hard to let me study in the same private school. And my friendship with Asher got really stronger over the years. By the time we reached high school, Asher was no longer the scrawny, tiny kid I had saved. He had transformed into a handsome dude who every girl in school had a crush on. Well, everyone except me. Why is this girl looking at me like she wants to claw my eyes out?
She thinks we're dating, Spidey.
What? Ew! I'd rather date a tadpole.
Shut up and act like you can't get enough of me.
What?
Just do as I say.
Oh, babe! Oh, my sweetie, salty pumpkin! I love you so much! I pulled Asher's cheeks so hard that his eyes watered, but he kept smiling to keep up the charade.
I love you too, babe.
The girl shot us a disgusted look and left.
Ouch! Why did you pull my cheek so hard?
Why do I have to pretend to be your girlfriend? Duh!
Oh, it's a long story. This girl's been stalking me for days and I needed to get her off my back.
Why don't you find yourself a real girlfriend, Asher?
I will, once I reach Vienna.
Asher pulled out a paper from his pocket. It was an acceptance letter from his dream college. Whoa, that's so cool! Congratulations, buddy. But wait, that means you'll be leaving?
Yeah, but I promise I'll stay in touch, Spidey.
So a few months later, Asher went to Vienna for college to study criminology while I stayed back to learn farm management. But we talked on the phone every week. Life went on smoothly until one day Mom got a notice that her farm's lease was expiring in a couple of months. The owner was selling the land to an Austrian billionaire named Lucas Berger, who planned to build a shopping mall there. I was furious, but the truth was we couldn't stop the owner from selling the land. Now the only way out was to talk to that billionaire. I looked him up on the internet and found his office address in Vienna. Immediately, I packed my bags and left for the city. After making a mad dash for the train, I'd hardly settled down in my seat when the ticket checker came up.
Ticket?
It was right here, promise.
Look, lady, I don't have all day.
The guy was getting impatient, and just then I remembered I'd taken it out in the public washroom just before boarding to check my seat number and left it there. I think I left it in the restroom. I'm sorry, I'll buy another one.
No credit card, only cash.
What? But I don't have cash with me right now.
Then get off at the next station. Wait, I'll pay for the lady's ticket.
I turned around to see a very handsome guy sitting right behind me. You don't have to do that.
Please, I insist. Besides, it seems like you're out of options right now.
Okay, but you have to give me your name and address so I can pay you back.
Sure thing.
The guy gave me a tiny smile and I swear I could feel my heart flutter. A few minutes later, I turned around again to ask the stranger his name and address, but found him fast asleep. And I dozed off soon after. When I woke up, we were in Vienna and the stranger had already left. I hailed a taxi to the billionaire's office and went straight to the reception. Hi, Hi, I wanted to meet, Lucas Berger. And I want to meet the President of America, but we both need prior appointments for that, sweetie.
Look, it's really urgent. I've traveled 200 miles to meet him.
Not my problem.
Okay, if you're gonna act like a stubborn donkey, I'll be one too. I raced straight towards the elevators, hoping to find Lucas's office on my own as the receptionist tried to catch up with me.
Hey, ma'am, stop!
Just then, the elevator door opened and I crashed into something rock solid.
Hey, what's going on?
I looked up to see it was the guy from the train. Only now he was dressed like he just stepped out of a fashion magazine.
This lady is trying to break in.
No, I am not. And hey, can you help me one more time? Do you work here? Do you know Mr. Lucas Berger?
As a matter of fact, yes. Lady, he is Mr. Lucas Berger.
That's awesome. Look, Lucas, Mr. Berger, I have something really important to discuss with you. Please, only 5 minutes.
But she doesn't have an appointment. That's okay. Come to my office, Miss...
Gia Nagy. I stuck my tongue at the jerk receptionist and followed Lucas to his office. And boy, it was the most opulent place I had ever seen. I was staring awestruck at the crystal chandeliers, massive mahogany table, and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city when I heard Lucas calling my name.
Gia, don't tell me you're here to pay for your ticket.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. Yes, of course, I need to pay you back. I'll do that as soon as I withdraw money from the ATM. But I'm not here for that right now. I told Lucas about the lease and our farm, and he listened with great interest.
I understand your concerns, but I guess I'll still buy your farm, because if I don't, the owner will sell it to someone else. Once the land becomes mine, I'll renew your lease.
What? Thank you so much. You have no idea how much this means to my mom and me.
Now, don't be so quick to thank me. I'm a businessman, Gia. I don't do anything unless I get a good bargain.
What do you mean?
I'll renew your farm lease, but the process of transferring the property in my name will take 2 to 3 days. Until then, you can be my guest and let me show you around the city.
What? No, I can't let you do that. You've already done so much for me. That reminds me, I have to pay my ticket. You just wait here. I'll be back in a minute. I abruptly turned around to leave, but my stupid foot got caught in the carpet and I would have fallen flat on my face if Lucas hadn't caught me in time. Suddenly, our faces were so close that I found it hard to breathe.
That's the 3rd time in a day that I've saved you.
Thank you, I guess.
Now, please don't worry about the fare. I'll take it with interest someday.
Lucas released me gently and I instantly regretted it. Being in his arms felt so good. Gosh, girl, get a grip on yourself.
So, what about your plans?
Why are you doing this? I mean, we're practically strangers. Why do you want to waste your time showing me around?
Let's just say you've been on my mind since you walked into the train this morning. I think you've cast a spell on me.
Are you saying I'm a witch?
Yeah, a gorgeous witch.
Lucas gave me that smile again, and it took all my effort to not melt at the spot. I took a moment to consider his offer, and then thought, where the heck am I ever gonna get an offer like this? I mean, a dashing billionaire is willing to be my guide in a stunning city? What else can a girl wish for? So I grabbed the opportunity with both hands. The next 2 days were pure bliss. As he'd promised, Lucas showed me every nook and corner of the city. And he even took me to Salzburg on a picnic in his private jet. We went to fancy restaurants, museums, and also a cool amusement park, where we had the most amazing time riding the roller coasters and the giant Ferris wheel. Then just as we were about to leave, one of the stalls started playing loud music. That's my favorite band!
Mine too.
We both laughed and danced like crazy. Then suddenly, Lucas pulled me into his arms.
Gia, I'm planning to take you to meet my grandmother tonight. She's 94 and keeps worrying that I work myself to death.
But Lucas, Lucas shushed me by putting a finger on my lips. The thought of meeting his grandma was kinda weird since we were just friends, but after everything Lucas had done for me, I obviously couldn't say no. So that night, we had dinner with his grandmother, who was the sweetest lady ever. She lived in a huge mansion on the city outskirts. After a hearty meal, when I was about to leave, she gave me a beautiful antique hair clip as a gift.
When Lucas was little, he always wanted me to wear it on special occasions. It's a precious family heirloom, and I want you to have it now.
Oh, no, I possibly can't take it. You guys have already done so much for me. But she was adamant, so I reluctantly accepted it.
Thanks for tonight, Gia. You have no idea how much it meant to my grandma. She hardly has any visitors.
The pleasure's all mine. It all felt more like a dream. That night after Lucas dropped me at the hotel, I kept thinking about all this. Was this handsome billionaire in love with me? No, not possible. He's so rich and I'm nobody. While thinking all this, I fell asleep. And then in the middle of the night, I woke up with a sound that felt like someone was trying to open the door. I panicked and instantly raced to the door to check who was trying to get in. But there was no one, and it was locked.
Was it a bad dream? I just wish Lucas gets that property soon so I can go back home. This was the first time I was living alone, so I got really scared. The next day, I woke up to 6 missed calls from Asher. Shoot, I was in Vienna and I hadn't even told him about it.
Hey, Spidey, you've changed.
What happened to the good old hi, hello?
You don't deserve it after what you just did. Aunt told me you've been here for the past couple of days, but you never got time to call me once.
Oh, I'm sorry, Asher. I just got so busy. I told him everything about the farm's lease and Lucas.
Lucas Berger? I guess I've heard that name before.
He's one of the city's youngest billionaires, and he's such a looker.
You seem totally smitten, Spidey. Are you two dating? Gosh, I think I'm jealous.
Oh, shut up. And no, we're not dating, but now I secretly wish we were. Oh God, Asher, there is so much I want to tell you. Let's meet for lunch. That day, as I was walking to the cafe to meet Asher, I again had an uneasy feeling that I was being followed. I looked back several times but found no one. It was very strange. At lunch, I told Asher everything about how Lucas and I met and how he had promised to help me with the farm lease.
Do you really think he'll keep his promise? And why is he doing it all?
Maybe because he likes me? Oh, Asher, if that's true, I might soon get my first boyfriend, and that too a dashing billionaire.
And here I thought I am your first boyfriend.
Oh, my bad, I forgot that. Asher and I chatted for hours, and then he left for his college, and I went to the market to buy something for Mom. That's when I got a call from Lucas.
Good news, the deal's almost final. I'm flying to Paris tomorrow to sign the papers, and I want you to be there with me.
But Lucas…
No buts, please. And if you don't mind, can you please wear that clip Grandma gave you tomorrow? I feel it's my lucky charm.
Oh, sure thing.
Cool. I'll pick you up at 7 tomorrow morning.
Wow, Paris, here I come. Is he gonna propose to me in the city of love? My heart was doing cartwheels. Who would have thought my life would take such a thrilling turn in such an incredible way? Smiling to myself, I was heading back to my hotel when a hooded figure suddenly collided with me and sprayed something in my face. Everything went black instantly. When I regained consciousness, I found myself in a creepy warehouse, my hands and feet bound tightly with rope.
So, Miss Sleeping Beauty finally comes to her senses.
I vaguely remembered that voice. It was coming from the shadows. Who are you? The guy stepped closer and I got the biggest shock of my life. Dad?
Dad? Seems like you're still hallucinating, stupid girl.
Dad, it's me, Gia.
Gia?
Suddenly, Dad's facial expressions changed. He immediately took out his phone and started screaming like a madman.
You morons! You got the wrong girl! She's not Lucas Berger's girlfriend!
Lucas? How do you know him?
Wait, wrong question. How do you know him?
Well, he's my friend. I told Dad everything and he got angrier by the minute.
That rascal! He's using you to smuggle those diamonds to Paris.
What diamonds?
Look, Gia, I don't have time to play games. Just give me my diamonds and I'll set you free.
But I don't have any diamonds. And Dad, don't tell me you're into smuggling now?
Well, at least I don't have to beg in front of anyone to renew a stupid lease. Now be a good girl and tell me where the diamonds are, or else…
Or else what? I can't believe you'd stoop so low. I idolized you as a kid. I missed you for days, and you never even bothered to call Mom or me once.
Oh, stop being so dramatic, girl. And don't waste my time. I have other meetings to attend.
The next meeting you'll attend will be in jail. I'll make sure of that.
You're just as stubborn as your mom. Now just wait and watch.
Before Dad could finish his sentence, a huge glass window to my left shattered, and a big, strong figure walked in carrying 2 baseball bats. Asher! Dad was startled for a bit, but then he pounced on Asher, but he was no match for his bulging biceps. Asher overpowered Dad in seconds, and then tied him up with the ropes lying nearby.
Gia, quick! We have to get to the police station before Lucas finds out what happened.
Wait, I don't understand. What is happening? And how did you find out where I was?
I put a tracker on your phone when we met for lunch. When you told me you were hanging out with Lucas, I decided to get more info on him, and what I found out about him was horrible.
Asher told me that under the facade of being a real estate developer, Lucas ran several illegal businesses too, and diamond smuggling was one of them. And Asher also told me how he was now working as a part-time undercover spy. Wow, Asher, how cool is that?
If you're done gushing over your friend here, go catch Lucas before he leaves the country. That maniac messed with the wrong guy this time. He stole my diamonds!
But why were you saying I have those diamonds?
Well, I got inside information that he was planning to smuggle them to Paris through his girlfriend.
What nonsense! Suddenly it dawned on me. The hair clip! Where's my bag? I think those diamonds are in there.
Stop lying. We searched that damn thing. There was nothing inside.
Just tell me where it is. Dad pointed toward a cardboard box. I rushed to grab my bag and heaved a sigh of relief when I found the clip inside. Then Asher and I headed straight to the police station. The next few hours turned out to be extremely dramatic. After I'd narrated my story to the police, they inspected the hair clip and then carefully took it apart piece by piece. Asher and I were beyond shocked to see tens of the diamonds falling out from the crevices. World's rarest diamonds. That very night, the police arrested Lucas. When he saw me, he growled in anger.
You really turned out to be a witch.
Yeah, but you gotta admit, I am a gorgeous one.
Okay, now what about your dad? He's still in there in the warehouse.
Well, I guess he has to pay for his actions too. We reported Dad to the police and he was arrested soon after. Since I had helped the authorities uncover a major smuggling racket, I was awarded a huge cash prize. And with that, I bought some land back home. Mom, now we'll never have to worry about lease or rent ever again. And thank you, Asher.
Nah, it was all your doing, Spidey. I don't even know how to get out of the burning classroom alive, remember?
The crowd was huge. My stomach was in knots, but then suddenly Mom's voice rang in my head.
Don't embarrass me out there. Do it exactly as rehearsed.
The host called my name, the crowd clapped, and I gripped Lana's hand tightly in nervousness. Girl, I love you, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Here, drink this. She handed me my favorite strawberry drink, and I managed a few sips and reluctantly dragged myself to the podium, heart pounding. Then, to my horror, my heel snagged, and I launched face first into a flower arrangement. Who knew flowers can be so dangerous? The crowd stared in silence, and I tried to straighten up everything to keep my dignity, and then it happened. A fart! Not just any fart, oh no! The mother of all farts! The room froze, then exploded with laughter. Cameras flashed, and in 0.5 seconds, I became an instant meme. First daughter drops a bomb, and the gif? Oh, just green stink clouds and party pooper diplomacy for the world to see. Hi, I'm Eva, the clumsiest first daughter of the United States. Welcome to my life, a public meme and punchline of the century. But before I spill the rest of the tea, don't forget to like and subscribe to Confession Diary. Before I became a public joke, I was just a regular girl. Or, well, not so regular. I was already the clumsiest kid alive, born to wealthy parents who owned a fancy art gallery. With Dad in politics and climbing the political ladder fast, his goal was the White House. By the time I could walk, Mom was convinced I couldn't walk through a room without tripping over air. So dramatic, right? So they had to childproof everything. Anything breakable or valuable was hidden because if I saw it, I was like a heat-seeking missile. That vase? Shattered. That fancy glass sculpture? Bye-bye. And let's not forget the day that made family history. I was 7 and Dad was hosting this huge art show for his friends in politics. The centerpiece was a giant pyramid made of tiny green and yellow pellets. It was like the world's fanciest game of Jenga. Naturally, I spotted a red pellet in the middle.
That doesn't look good there.
So I pulled it, and the entire pyramid collapsed like the most colorful landslide you've ever seen.
Oh, wow! So pretty!
It was the ultimate disaster. The guests were speechless. The artist looked like he was about to faint. And Dad had to pay the guy a lot of money to cover the damage. Mom, on the other hand, was furious. Eva Mary Richards, what were you thinking?
But, Mom, the red one was out of place. I was just trying to fix it.
Fix it? You destroyed it! Dad, though, was always on my side.
Hey, sweetheart, it's okay. You were just trying to help, right?
I'm sorry, Daddy.
Oh, don't worry, Eva. Accidents happen.
Mom wasn't amused, but Dad just smiled like always. After that crazy incident and Mom's anger, I decided to stick to my room so no one would have to deal with my shenanigans. I found peace folding tiny pieces of paper into origami, something Dad had taught me. Soon, I got good at it. So good that my DIY origami account on Pinterest blew up and I got millions of followers. And the best part? No one knew it was me behind it, not even my parents. But school was a whole other world. I'd earned the nickname Eva the Klutz, but it wasn't all bad. Boys wouldn't stop swooning over my curls, long lashes, and freckled cheeks. Dad always joked I looked like a doll, and I guess the guys at school agreed. They were always trying to flirt or get my attention, and I couldn't roll my eyes hard enough. I did my best to dodge them, practically becoming a master of disappearing acts whenever they came around.
Eva, let's skip the small talk. How about a date where you can charm me with your clumsiness?
Oh, please.
Come on, girl, be my clumsy queen. Are you a magician? Because every time I look at you, everyone else disappears.
They were out of their minds, and I had to deal with all this unwanted attention. Being an introvert, I love to stick to the same routine. School, art studio, home, repeat. Honestly, I'd love it if I could go unnoticed and avoid all attention. The less I have to be seen or talk to anyone, the better. But staying invisible was nearly impossible, especially with Max, the mayor's son who dated half the school, putting a target on my back. Every time we crossed paths, he'd look at me like I was some kind of snack and drop the cheesiest lines. Like one time on my way to class, I almost tripped on a random pencil, and just before I hit the ground, Max popped out of nowhere, catching me in his arms.
If I was your boyfriend, you wouldn't have to worry about tripping, beautiful. Go on a date with me.
Ew, get off me, jerk! Just then, this blonde girl showed up and did a karate slash between us, separating Max and I. She said, "Let go!"
Whoa, take it easy, baby girl. I'll try again tomorrow, Eva.
I just rolled my eyes. Typical.
Hey, I'm Lana. You're pretty popular, aren't you?
Hi, I'm Eva. Thanks for that. Here, take this. It's my most beautiful piece, just for you, as a token of my thanks.
Whoa, you made these?
Yeah, just something I do for fun.
These are amazing! Thanks!
Turns out Lana was an exchange student from Canada, and oh boy, she was nothing like me. Outspoken, sassy, fearless, basically a walking confidence boost. And she somehow became my new best friend. Before I knew it, I was actually out in public, shopping, trying new things with her. I was having so much fun and started enjoying life a little more. But things started getting crazier when Dad became president. But thankfully, Lana was right there beside me, promising to help me handle all the crazy unwanted attention I started getting all of a sudden. All I have to do is give polite nods here, a wave there, and everyone minds their business, right?
Right, easy peasy.
Huh, not even close. I was barely out of the house for 5 minutes before getting mobbed by paparazzi. It was insane. I'm talking flashing lights, shouting reporters, camera guys asking me about my favorite shampoo brand. Seriously, I couldn't even grab a latte without someone yelling,
Eva, who designed that top?
"Are you dating anyone?" It was exhausting. And Lana, being the best hype woman ever, always had the best advice.
Hey, just don't make eye contact with them, Eva. Think of them like pigeons. Super annoying loud pigeons.
But no matter where I went, they'd just pop out like they had spy powers or something. But it wasn't just the paparazzi. Oh no. Suddenly, every move I made was under a microscope by the entire world. Every single thing. Like that one time I felt super overwhelmed and Lana convinced me to skip class and climb out the school wall with her. We hid behind the science lab, peeking around to make sure no teachers were looking. Ready? Yes! We climbed up the wall and jumped down onto the grass on the other side. First stop, the park. But then suddenly I heard someone yell behind us.
Hey, look at the ditchers.
I turned to see some classmates with their phones out, grinning at us.
Uh-oh, you're in trouble.
Panic hit me. We had been caught. What if they posted those pictures? The next day I checked my phone and saw the headline, "Bunking class caught in the act." What the heck? Could I even go out anymore without getting in trouble? Ugh. I'd had enough of all this drama, and my social anxiety was triggering the roof already. Dad, I'm planning to continue my studies from home.
Homeschool? Sweetie, I thought you loved school.
Yeah, loved. Past tense, Dad. Like BC, before cameras.
She's right, you know. To avoid any more Eva specials while you're in the office. Honestly, how could you be so reckless to let people take photos of you?
Mom, I just want to live my life like a normal girl. Ugh. Dad tried to remain calm even with all this presidential chaos. Of course, that just made me more determined not to give him any headaches. And everything seemed perfect until a few months later when Mom announced her brilliant idea for the First Lady Charity Gala at our now famous art gallery, and I was only moderately horrified, especially because as the first daughter, I had to address the crowd and teach little kids the wonders of origami. Oh yeah, easy. What could possibly go wrong? Turns out, everything! My stomach ended up malfunctioning on live TV and I had petals and pollen all over me like icing on a large piece of poop. I mean, I know farts are meant to be normal and healthy, but in front of the whole world? Emotional damage. Needless to say, it was a downward spiral from this point on, as social media labeled me the biggest joke of the country, and Mom lost it.
I can't believe you humiliated your dad and me like that, Eva.
Didn't I tell you there was no room for slip-ups? Do you know what they're writing about you now? You think I'd miss the first daughter drops a bomb at charity event? Or the party pooper diplomacy? Oh, and the best one yet. Who knew she had it in her?
I mean, the creativity.
Yeah.
Both of you shut up!
How can you be laughing at a time like this?
Mom, you know I get awkward in public, yet you still insisted I do this, so in a way it's your fault.
Oh, you shameless girl. If this affects your dad's career...
Oh, come on! How is that fair? Dad, help me! Dad had been pacing in full crisis mode, but hadn't said a word. I could tell it was serious, but then he spoke.
I'm sorry, Eva, but this is bad. I know it was an accident, but they're now calling me the FFF, Flatulent First Father. And oh, a breaking news article just dropped a few minutes ago, and you know what the title is? There's a gaseous fart leak in the White House. How am I supposed to work like this?
Oh gosh, what had I done? I'd never seen Dad so hurt and disappointed. I had to do something. So driven by guilt and the need to make things better, I barged out of the house and straight into a sea of hungry paps waiting with their cameras and microphones to consume me.
Is it true you have explosive diarrhea?
What the heck? Explosive diarrhea? That was it. I saw red. Your head's the one exploding with stupidity, you brainless vulture. Leave my dad alone, or you're all gonna regret it! And I stormed off, only to realize I just made everything worse. So when Mom packed me off to the countryside, I didn't even fight it. Lana tried to come, but she couldn't skip school. It's just a few weeks till this blows over. We'll talk every day, but if you need me, just give me a buzz and I'll be there. Come now. Ditch school. Nice try. As sad as I was, I had to disappear to protect Dad's career. But just before I climbed onto the helicopter, a sleek sports car came racing at me, screeching to a stop inches from my shaking legs. My heart pounded. Was someone here to take me out? Then the door opened and out stepped Max? He looked like he'd rolled straight out of a Prada ad, doing a dramatic slow-mo with his sunglasses. For a second, my heart might have skipped a beat, but then I snapped out of it. What the heck are you doing here? How'd you even find me?
Running off again, Eva? Is this like your thing?
Why are you here?
Just because our dads are rivals doesn't mean we can't be friends, or maybe even more.
Oh yeah, did I mention? Max's dad lost to mine in the election and now leads the opposition. Ew, back off, Max! Not interested!
You know, I can help you fix everything that's going on right now. I'm not the bad guy, Eva, and I think we'd make a great team.
Gee, and when will you ever have time for all your other girls?
What girls? There's only you, Eva, from day one.
He was such a sweet talker, and he kept getting closer. Shaking it off, I excused myself and got on the helicopter. What was his deal? What did he even mean? When I got to the country house, there were already bodyguards all over the place. I had a simple plan: focus on school and my origami projects. The first few days went by smoothly. I posted DIY videos of origami bouquets, falcons, and phoenixes on my channel, and people loved it. But one night my phone started blowing up. Before I could even check, it rang, and I picked up to Mom yelling in my ear.
What the heck did you do this time, Eva?
What are you talking about, Mom?
Fooling around with the enemy, Eva? This time it is way too much. Shame on you.
What? But she just hung up on me. I checked my notifications and OMG! A picture of Max and me at the helipad popped up, edited to look like we were kissing. And the headline was brutal. The first daughter is an embarrassment and fooling around with the enemy. If the president can't control his own daughter, how can he rule a country? Don't be fooled, people. Like father, like daughter. What the heck was this? Did Max set me up? That's when I noticed the article was by the anti-Eva club. Ugh, it was the same troll who called Dad the flatulent first father. I was gonna call Max out and call him out, but suddenly Lana called me. Oh my god, Eva, are you okay? I saw the article. Is it true? What? No! How could she even think that? I hate to say this, but girl, this has Max written all over it. I mean, he's the only one with motive. And why did he even come there that day? Lana was right. Max did have a motive, and his dad was in the opposition. I had to confront him, so I called, and he picked up instantly like he'd been waiting.
Missed me already?
Cut the crap, Max. So this was your plan all along? To humiliate my dad because I refused to play your stupid games?
I'm hurt that you think I'm that petty, Eva. I told you, I'm not your enemy. Maybe look closer at the people around you.
What do you mean?
How do you think I found you that day? Someone sent me a message telling me where to go and what time you were leaving. I showed up because I was curious. And trust me, if I wanted the world to know we were dating, I'd give them a better photo for sure.
Oh, you...
All I'm saying is, I didn't do this.
But if it wasn't him, then who could have done this? I planned to dig into the anti-Eva club the next day, but I woke up to even worse news. Someone had leaked my Pinterest account. My origami videos were everywhere, and instead of praise, the hate rolled in.
People accused me of stealing others' work, which wasn't true, and Dad's reputation got dragged through the mud because of me. My heart shattered. Desperate, I called Lana to come over. Later, when she arrived and hugged me, I actually felt like things might be okay. Until hours later, things heated up even more when out of nowhere, Max released a statement saying we were just frenemies and that while he liked me, it was unrequited.
And contrary to all the claims, we weren't kissing. Someone just got a clever angle and made it look like we were, so please let Eva Richards be. She's a wonderful girl, and she doesn't deserve all this backlash. Also, her origami art is beautiful, so y'all stop hating and support a hardworking girl.
What is he doing?
Anyone can tell he's lying through his teeth. Don't tell me you actually believe that.
Well, Max couldn't be trusted, but thanks to his statement, the story flipped and everyone seemed to believe him. But now I was even more confused. Was there really an anti-fan club for me? Why? I'd never heard anyone. Did people just hate me for no reason? The questions were driving me crazy, so I called him to say thank you, and when Max offered to hire a PI to track down the author, I was all in. A day later, Lana and I were working on origami tulips when we heard a helicopter landing outside. I didn't expect anyone. Who could it be? Then Mom, Max, and 2 cops stepped out, and I had this sinking feeling that something was really wrong. Mom, what's going on? Max?
You're under arrest for online trolling, slandering the president's name, and ruining his family's reputation.
What? Why are you guys arresting Lana? She's my best friend. She wouldn't do that, right, Lana?
She's actually the author we were looking for. She also found and leaked your Pinterest account. The PI confirmed this morning, and I called your mom right away.
What? My heart broke. Why? Why would you do that? What did I ever do to you? But Lana just laughed, and the soft look she had a few minutes ago instantly turned cold.
Ha! Stupid spoiled brat. You think you can just get away with anything just because you're pretty and your dad's the president, huh?
What are you talking about?
I was 10 when my dad built the most beautiful giant pyramid with green and yellow pellets. He even let me add a red one to make it ours. It took him 3 years to create it, and you destroyed it with one touch and smiled as it fell apart.
What? I didn't mean for that to happen, and my dad,
Yeah, sure, your dad poured all that money into Dad's account to cover the damages because that's all you rich people know how to do. But guess what? That didn't help my dad, and he lost his mind. He couldn't create another masterpiece like that, and now he's not okay. Ugh! You thought you were so clever, but I was gonna make you pay for everything. That juice box should have given you explosive diarrhea. You just got lucky, and I hated it! Oh, I hate you!
As I listened to everything, it all made sense. And I know this might sound crazy, but I'd lived with the guilt of not knowing whatever happened to that artist. I am so sorry, Lana. I never meant to hurt anyone.
Oh, save it!
Even though she didn't want to hear it, I apologized to Lana for my mistake and forgave her for everything. Later, I got to know she was sent for therapy, but I decided to never see her again. After that, everything settled down, my name was cleared, and just like they turned on me, the public started defending me and supporting my art again. After I graduated, my parents handed over the art gallery to me, where I hold free origami lessons every week. Oh, and Max? Well, we're friends, but maybe we'll be more in the future. What do you think? I pushed open the door and froze. My jaw on the floor, my brain completely fried. You? What are you doing in our house?
Your house? Are you crazy? This is our house.
Before I could toss my shoes at him, Mom strolled in behind me.
Ellie, why are you yelling? Oh,
she froze. Just then, a man waltzed in from the hallway looking confused. My mortal enemy and my biggest bully was in my house. Correction, in his house. No, wait, our house? Ugh. Hi, I'm Ellie, and I just walked into my literal worst nightmare. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around because this drama, it's just getting started. Oh wait, let me rewind so you get the full picture of how we ended up here. Mom and I had to move after our house literally burnt down in an accident. After spending a whole month in the world's saddest motel, we finally found the cutest house. Great neighborhood? Check. Close to school? Check. And the best part, my BFF David lives just around the corner. I was super excited for our big move. But here's the plot twist no one expected. Turned out that the real estate agent, a certified moron, double rented the house and then vanished. Crazy, right? Just when we thought things were settling down, Ethan's dad told us we had to leave. And that's when Mom completely lost it. I paid for this place, and no one is kicking us out.
Hey, we got here first, and I'm not letting some random lady push us around.
Fine, and we'll be staying here too because I have paid already, and I am not leaving until that idiot agent shows up with my money. And that's how I got stuck living with my biggest bully, Ethan, and his control freak dad. Ugh, total nightmare. Living with Ethan was like living in a total prank show. Even if I locked my door, he'd find a way to mess with me. Like hiding my shoes before school, filling my bag with random stuff, and messing with my food. Even the adults couldn't stand each other. Ethan's dad, a carpenter with a love for sawdust. My mom, an interior decorator with zero tolerance for mess. Put that together, and it's a recipe for disaster. You cannot dump your wood shavings everywhere. My clients' fabrics are covered with it.
Close the window, genius.
I like fresh air.
Then enjoy it with a side of sawdust. Bon appetit.
It was like a crazy reality TV show 24/7. The drama at home wrecked my sleep schedule, and one lunchtime I dozed off in the cafeteria only to be woken up by Ethan pouring the most disgusting, smelly water all over me. I shot up, furious. I was ready to claw Ethan's eyes out when David ran to the scene.
Hey, Ethan, are you insane?
Cue my BFF David. We met when we were 5 because his grandma lived next door. Every weekend, David and I would hang out, and since then, he's always had my back. When it comes to dealing with Ethan, he's like my personal knight in shining armor, minus the horse. Now, back to this situation. David swung at Ethan right in the eye, and fists began flying everywhere. Now, you're probably asking, what did you do to make Ethan hate you so much? And the answer? Absolutely nothing. I'm pretty, get amazing grades, have the world's best BFF, and spend my free time drawing comic strips. But hey, that is my secret, and only David knows. But let me tell you, dealing with Ethan at school and at home turned things totally chaotic. That swamp water incident was the final straw. It was time to fight back, and I was gonna make it viral. That night after Ethan fell asleep, I grabbed my waterproof eyeliner and drew dark lines under his eyes, then went full-on Picasso with some red spots all over his body. And then I snipped some of his hair. By the time Ethan started stirring the next morning, I was already outside his door pretending to have the most important conversation on the phone. You mean Jessica and Frank have the disease too? The symptoms are red spots, dark circles under the eyes, and no way, falling out hair? I peeked inside at Ethan, who looked like he was about to cry. And you're saying the only cure is licking the back of a frog within 3 hours of catching it, or you'll start to lose feeling in your limbs and be bedridden forever? I barely held back a giggle as Ethan bolted from his room and ran outside, desperately pawing through the bushes like a maniac. And then, bingo, he spotted the largest frog, the grossest frog I'd ever seen, and gave it the most awkward, cringeworthy lick ever. Oh, this was way too good to be true. Ethan's face? Priceless. And I recorded everything. I literally went viral on social media. By the time Ethan realized he'd been hit with the prank of the century, he had bigger issues to deal with. When he got to school, students were pointing at him, whispering and literally making fun of him. He thought it was because of his new look, thanks to me, but I knew it was something far worse. David sprinted over with a huge grin on his face.
Ellie, this is epic!
Shh!
So you finally decided to give him a taste of his medicine.
After leaving Ethan's room last night, I decided to create a whole comic series, Ethan the Menace Chronicles. Yes, of course, anonymously, and one juicy issue per week. At school, people started picking on Ethan, and it was like every week it got worse. The jokes, the whispers, the stares, it was nonstop. You'd think they'd get bored, but nope, they just kept piling it on. Did I feel sorry for him? No. Justice was served to the biggest bully of the school, and everyone was kinda happy. You're loving this, aren't you?
Are you kidding? Watching Ethan get a triple dose of karma? This is the best day of my life.
The comics went viral faster than a Kardashian breakup, and Ethan was the new meme sensation. At first, Ethan tried to find out who it was by shoving kids and threatening them, but guess what? The tables had turned, honey. Kids were finally snapping back.
You think you can push me around? You couldn't even steal candy from a baby!
Still trying to act tough after you turned into a meme? Loser. Ethan had no choice but to back down like a sad puppy. The predator had totally downgraded to the prey. Meanwhile, I was finally getting some peace at home as well. No more feeling like I was walking on eggshells. After a month of Ethan leaving me alone both at home and school, things finally got a lot better. David and I decided to celebrate with ice cream. Then something totally strange happened.
If I could be as close to you as that ice cream on your face, I'd never leave.
I looked into his eyes, so dreamy, and my heart did an Olympic backflip. Then his fingers brushed mine and I freaked, jumping so fast the cone landed on his head. Did he just confess? No, no, no! Mortified, I bolted before he could say a word. What the heck just happened? A few minutes later, I was walking towards the front door of the house when I heard it. Ethan and his dad literally yelling in the garage.
Where did you even get this money? I have my ways, Dad. You mean stealing? You need to stop messing around, or you'll end up in a situation I wouldn't be able to help you out of.
Ethan's words shot through the air like daggers.
I am in a situation you can't help me out of, because you can't provide for me.
He slammed the money onto the workbench.
Take the money, Dad, or do you prefer we starve and live on the streets?
Without another word, Ethan stormed out, leaving his dad standing there looking totally drained. I stood there, my heart twisting. Was this why Ethan was such a jerk all this time? He's not just angry at the world, he's angry at his dad. I couldn't even feel mad anymore, just a little bit sad for him. Ellie, just pretend you didn't hear anything. I mean, come on, Ethan's not your problem anymore, right? But something inside me just wouldn't drop it. I instantly regretted what I'd done earlier as revenge. Maybe I'd taken things too far. Instead of letting my regret drain me, I decided to fix things. So I launched Operation Help Ethan without him knowing. As I was planning my next move in my room, I heard Mom's laughter float through my window. I instantly saw out the window, surprised. There she was walking up the driveway with Ethan's dad. Wait, she's walking and laughing? With him? It seemed like the adults had finally put their drama aside. Maybe if this mission goes well, Ethan and I could be friends too. A girl can dream at least, right? Over the next 2 weeks, I secretly paid for his school trip and topped up his lunch. Helping Ethan kept my mind off the awkward moment with David. We hadn't talked, probably because we were both avoiding it. Fine by me, more time for Ethan. Then one afternoon after I found a super cool gaming t-shirt at the mall, I snuck into Ethan's room and just as I was about to put it in his wardrobe, I heard footsteps. Then Ethan's voice. Oh crap! I threw the shirt into the wardrobe, slammed it shut, and dove under the bed without thinking. Huge mistake. Ew! The stench under there hit me like a truck. Socks, gross, evil socks everywhere. I could feel my eyes watering, but I clamped my hands over my mouth, trying not to gag. Ew, ew, ew. Just then the door creaked open and Ethan walked in. If he caught me, I was toast. Crispy toast. I hid until Ethan slept, then I immediately bolted to my room. Bam! I ran right into his dad coming out of Mom's room. What in the freaking bananas? My brain short-circuited. I just needed to run and take a hot bath to forget everything. I bolted to my room and slammed the door. In the shower, all I could think was, why was Ethan's dad coming out of Mom's room? The next day, something totally weird happened. I found a white rose in my locker and it had a little tag attached. Thanks for the t-shirt. P.S. Next time you want to hide under someone's bed, hide those big feet of yours, Ethan. He knew? And said nothing.
Hey.
I spun around so fast that I almost gave myself whiplash. David was standing there looking nervous. Hi, when did you come? His eyes zeroed in on the rose.
A secret admirer?
No secret, it's from Ethan. David looked ready to explode.
So wait, you and Ethan are all chummy now?
What was his problem? Last I checked, I didn't sign an exclusive friend contract.
Seriously, Ellie?
David, are you jealous?
Of course not.
But then the next morning, David, showing up with a huge bouquet of roses on the porch, said a lot more. This showed a silent signal, calling David and Ethan to battle. Over the next few weeks, it was a full-on battle of the boys, and it got wild. If Ethan was with me and I kneeled to pet a cat, David suddenly appeared with a cat army for me to pet. David wrote me a sweet note, but Ethan went big and made a cute scene at lunch. At first, it was fun, until they started turning it into a full-on tug-of-war, with me stuck in the middle. And honestly, I was so tired. Guys, stop it! So I came up with what I thought was a genius plan. Hang out with David during school and with Ethan at home. Balanced, right? Or wrong? You see, over the next few weeks, everything changed, including the dynamics between Ethan's and my family's. Things started getting better. Ethan and I got super close and talked about everything, and even super secret stuff.
Mom stole all Dad's savings and ran off to Hollywood to become an actress, and Dad, he got himself too busy for anything.
Oh, I felt really sad for him. He really had a very tough life. And even though we didn't hang out at school, he'd wave or I'd catch him staring at me during class. I guess David noticed because my fun, carefree bestie had turned into a moody grumpy, getting mad over the smallest stuff.
So you think it's cool to borrow my charger and not give it back?
Huh? It was like Ethan had become this breath of fresh air, and David, he'd become a storm cloud every single day. So I began to avoid him, like totally. And then one afternoon, Ethan and I were battling over the last piece of glazed donut in a cafe when David stormed in looking like he was ready to explode. I froze mid-bite, Ethan too.
This guy bullied you for years, and now you've replaced me with him? Calm down, dude.
David, this is why I've stopped hanging out with you. It's always some drama. I grabbed Ethan's arm, fuming. Let's go. Of course, David followed us out like a shadow, refusing to disappear.
Why do you girls always go for the guys who treat you like trash first, instead of the guy who's been there since day one?
I blinked and spun around. What are you even talking about? And then it happened.
I love you, Ellie. I always have. That's why I've been so uptight lately. He swept you off your feet and it's breaking my heart.
The air just vanished from my lungs. David loved me? Like, loved me?
Whoa there, lover boy. For the record, Ellie loves you, not me. We're just friends. She talks about you non-stop. It's borderline annoying.
He turned to me.
Ellie, I'll see you at home.
As Ethan walked away, David stepped closer, his voice softening. Why didn't you tell me you loved me all this while?
Maybe the same reason you didn't. Fear that you didn't feel the same way about me.
He brushed a strand of my hair behind my ear. My heart did a cartwheel.
I didn't want to risk losing you to anyone else. Will you be my girl?
Tears welled up in my eyes as I nodded. Yes, David, I will. I pulled him into a kiss and it was magical. He exhaled, grinning, then he hesitated.
But I want you to stay away from Ethan.
Stop being such a baby. I love you, so just trust me, okay? He sighed, finally giving me the softest smile.
Okay, I trust you.
That night, when I walked through the front door, I felt like I was floating. And finally, everything was perfect. And then during dinner, Mom and Ethan's dad dropped a mega bombshell. They were dating. Looking back, it all clicked. The way she'd laugh at his dad jokes, the constant outings, and the other stuff. Yeah, that made sense now. But honestly, if Ethan's dad made Mom happy, then I was happy for them. The next morning, Ethan and I were having breakfast when his dad walked in.
Hey, Ellie. David told me you drew some amazing comics a few weeks ago and they went viral.
My stomach dropped.
Comics? So it was you behind all that? Oh my god! Did you know how those stupid comics of yours ruined my reputation? My social life? Do you even get how much I've suffered because of your little viral joke?
Suffered? I totally lost it. Have you forgotten how you tormented me? I cried myself to sleep so many nights because of you!
At least I never pretended to be your friend while I stabbed you in the back. I'd rather have no friends than fake friends like you.
Tears pricked my eyes as he stormed off. I stood there for a long moment, like I just lost a part of myself. David told him about my comics? On purpose? I felt so betrayed by David that I just ran to my bedroom and curled up on my bed. Everything was falling apart, and it felt like there wasn't enough glue in the world to fix it. For days, I locked myself in my room and didn't pick up David's call. He literally used my comics against me to tear us apart. I couldn't stand him anymore. I hated him for what he did. Then one morning, I was jolted awake by a loud banging on my door.
Ellie, your mom, she collapsed.
My heart sank. I yanked the door open and rushed downstairs. Ethan's dad was already lifting Mom into his van. 20 agonizing minutes later, I was stuck in the waiting room with Ethan, my mind spiraling into worst-case scenarios. Then I felt an arm around me.
It's gonna be okay. I'm sorry for how I treated you. And David, I deserved it all.
I'm sorry too.
And I'm sorry, 3.
We turned to see David standing there.
Ellie, I'm here to apologize. I was just jealous of how close you and Ethan were. I needed him to stay away from you.
David, are you crazy? Ethan is my half-brother, dummy! So you don't have to worry about him. My mom and his dad are now a thing. David looked shocked and relieved.
But you never told me this. Can you forgive me? I went a bit too far in my jealousy.
I rolled my eyes playfully. I guess I have no choice but to forgive, since you're my best friend and all.
And don't forget your boyfriend.
Finally, Mom and Ethan's dad came out smiling. Mom, are you okay? Everything's fine.
We've got a great news. We've decided to take a trip together. As a family.
I blinked, not expecting that. A family trip?
Yeah, we thought it would be nice for all of us to spend some time together. Just the 4 of us, getting to know each other better. And David, you're also invited to join.
It's time we all had some fun and made some memories. No stress, just us. I looked at David, then at Ethan, who was surprisingly quiet but nodded, sounds good, feeling the tension ease off.